It's time for high school football, presented by TISD and Cox Communications of Tyler. Brought to you by Dairy Queen. Also brought to you by these sponsors. Get ready, high school football is just ahead.
Latte resistance test.
Begin.
Oh! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Mou Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
Lights from Chuck McElroy and back judge Dan Metcalf.
Brandon, this is Matthew. This is Matt.
Captain Longview, Matthew Morrison, 47. Number 50, Cameron Wyatt. Number 54, Jeremy Templeton. Number 55.
As the captains are shaking hands for Lee, Andrew Bailey, Jacoby McKenzie, Matt Uzel, and wide receiver Jacob Amy.
As your backs receivers when they're tackled, don't throw the ball down. Either leave it laying there or give it to one of us. If you're one of the ones I'm explaining the penalty to and you don't understand it, just tell me and we'll go over it again, okay? All right, Matthew. There's tails and heads. I'm going to toss it, call what's in there loud enough for him to hear.
Heads.
It is heads. You have won the toss. You said you wanted the football, right? And you want to kick from that end this way. All right, if you'll turn your back over there and white right over here.
All right, Longview has won the toss, and the Lobos will receive on the east side of the stadium. Randy Johnson, we've seen some absolutely classic games between these two teams. 22-21 the last time they met here. Mike Owens went for two, could have gone overtime. He said, listen, we knew we were in the playoffs. We were tired. It was a physical game. Went for two, a ball just overthrown over Brandon Pettigrew's head. That was a classic. Last year was a classic. There have been a bunch of classics. A lot of people not sure about this because Longview is loaded. Lee right now a little bit uncertain. Your thoughts about this one tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, Lee has to eliminate errors, period, or it will get ugly and very fast. This Longview team went over to Mesquite a couple weeks ago and had a 28-0 lead before the middle of the second quarter. So Lee must concentrate on making plays, following assignments on defense, and holding on to the football offensively to really have a good opportunity to pull out any kind of win.
Lee will be kicking off back deep for Longview. They have all sorts of weapons. We've talked about them, including Vondrell McGee, Jarvis Pippins, who's also one of their safeties. Vondrell McGee is on the near side. If you are a home side fan, on the far side, it's Vondrell is on the near side of the hash mark, and Jarvis Pippins, P-I-P-P-I-N, is also the deep man at about the 5-yard line. Pippins averaging, by the way, 37.3 yards of return. He has not had a lot of returns, but he has broken one long one, and he is also back deep. For Robert E. Lee, Taylor Matlock, who came in a couple of weeks ago, will be kicking off at the 40-yard line. Lee also, one thing we forgot to tell you about or haven't thought much about is with Preston Hill, their starting quarterback the start of the year out with an MCL. And again, that is something that could be 1, 2, and it could be the rest of the year depending on, various tests that they always have with him, that he is also their punter. So that then drops Preston Hill out of the punter spot, and they will be going with Josh Burke as the punter. Sean Rainey's a backup punter, and Marcus Jackson, who's their punt returner, he's now the quarterback. They got to put Jonathan Williams back, who received some punts against Rockwall. Taylor Matlock will kick off for Lee as they've had the TV timeout in what is national primetime 12-5A. Matlock deep kick to Vondrell McGee at the 7, at the 10, 15, 20, up the middle, 25, 30, 35, 40. He found a seam, and a nice job by Lee to be able to shut him down because he was almost off to the races. Ryan McSwain on the stop, but a 33-yard kickoff return for Vondrell McGee to start this game. And the Lobos, with 7 seconds into the game, their first snap will come from their 40-yard line. Again, Lee up front with Ray and Brown, the tackles. Brotherton and McKenzie, the tackles, Ray and Brown, the ends, with Wall, Faber, Uzell, Nicholson, Williams, Cuba, and Beard, the defensive backs. Reese in motion, left hash mark. Deep pitch back to McGee off the right end at the 40, 45, 50, and there's a flag comes down and a face mask on Takari and Cuba. But if he doesn't get the face mask, Randy, he might go 60 on the first play. 14 yards for Vondrell McGee and a 15-yard face mask at the end of the play, and Longview is already in lead territory inside their 35.
Well, they get a nice lead block from Chris Ivory pulling along the way. He cuts out. It appeared to be on that side. Uzell was knocked out of the play, and then that set up the show for Vondrell, and he's brought down by the face gear by Cuba.
The officiating crew from the Tyler Lone Star chapter.
Foul. Face mask on the defense. 15 yards, spot the foul. First down.
That is the voice of the referee, Doyle Pogue, the umpire, Brandon Kirsch, Chuck McElroy, the linesman, the line judge, Russell Bishop, and the back judge is Dan Metcalf. Longview at the lead, 30 now. Vondrell McGee back in the shotgun with Freeman, runs the draw, outside, breaks a tackle, 25, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. 2 plays, 60 yards, 30-yard touchdown. Vondrell McGee and Longview leads 29 seconds into this game.
Well, quick, fast, and in a hurry. He takes the pitch, he gets a nice block, fends off a couple of red shirts and breaks down the far sideline with only Cuba there to greet him at the 3, and he busts on by him for 6 for Longview to start off the scoring.
The last time that Vondrell McGee carried the football against Lee prior to this game was the game-winning overtime run of 25 yards, and he's just gone 14 and 30. And it's 6-0 Lobos, and here comes the kick by Zach Decker. 24 of 25 in the year, 25 of 26 in the year, and the lead team, which is in somewhat questioning right now their confidence. Boy, the defense has got to get it together, and here comes the return game back in 1 minute. 7-0 Longview on News Talk 600 KTBB.
In the game of life, there are no timeouts, only time wasted. The path you choose now determines your future. But where can you go to find a sense of purpose? There is a place where team spirit steps off the field and into the classroom, where no victory goes unnoticed, and there's no such thing as wasted time. That place is Tyler Junior College, living life in color, never black and white. Come to Tyler Junior College. We're changing the game. We're changing lives.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell, going the extra mile against hunger.
Back deep for Robert E. Lee, Marquis Seaton, and Josh Burke. Jamal Mitchell, also one of the up men. Kicking off is Decker, who has had a nice start to his first year as a kicker. for the Longview Lobos, and boy, Randy, that didn't take very long at all.
Well, not at all, David. 2 plays, 60 yards and 29 ticks off the clock. And, of course, it was aided by a 15-yard personal foul penalty, but Vondrell McGee is off and running tonight.
They went straight to the edges. Here comes Decker, approaches at his 40, high, pretty deep. Burke will catch it at a 14, at the 15, 20, looks for a seam. It doesn't get very far as he's knocked down at the 22-yard line. On the stop that time for the Lobos is T.J. Norris, who's also one of their starting middle linebackers. For Robert E. Lee, the junior, Marcus Jackson, 5'11", 165. The tailback is Jason Williams, 689 yards, 7 touchdowns, and scored last week in that game against Rockwall. Wide receivers, a combination of Jacob Amy, Jonathan Williams, Michael Fuller, and Cruz Fry, and Chad Hawley called up this week from the junior varsity. Lee will go offset eye with Jamal Mitchell starting at the fullback spot instead of Nathan Tucker. Play action, Marcus Jackson, sideline pass, and through the hands of the tight end Tyler Fleet at about the 28. Very well well-designed play, but you got to make plays against a team like this right now, and Marcus Jackson and Tyler Fleet can't come down with it, and it's 2nd down and 10 up front for Lee. Jake Kirkpatrick, the senior, Chase Carlton, the guard, center Andrew Bailey, Mario Trimble at the guard, and Lynn Gibson, the senior, at tackle with Tyler Fleet, the tight end. So Lee with a little bootleg, as you mentioned, Randy, with the speed of Marcus Jackson. They'll go tight end near side Tyler Fleet on 2nd and 10. He runs another bootleg. Jackson has a man dropped through the hands of Michael Mason this time at the 26-yard line. That would have been close to a 1st down. He was covered that time by Cartez Bell, the strong safety, and Lee. First play, drop pass. Second play, drop pass. Lots of dropped heads right now, and they've just got to get out of the funk.
Yeah, they do, David. Really well-designed plays, giving Marcus the ability to move out of the pocket and roll. He's throwing the ball a little high and hard, though, and both are catchable passes as well.
For Longview defensively, Damian Sadler, Cody Williams, the ends, although Williams more of a stand-up end. He's going to Texas A&M. Ben Huddleston and LaTroy Ayers have been wrecking offenses at the tackle spot. This time, Jackson, here comes a flag, as a delay of the snap that time as Jackson went, but the snap did not come, and this is an ominous start for the Red Raiders program, which has been so good since that 2nd year that Mike Owens took over in 1997. Linebackers, Chase Brashear and T.J. Norris inside. Kelsey Oliver rotates in various places. He's kind of like a tweener at linebacker.
On the offense, 5 yards, previous spot, remains 3rd down.
So 3rd and 15 for Lee. Cartez Bell is a safety. Jarvis Pippin's a safety. And LaDerrick Satterwhite and Calvin Jackson, the corner. Satterwhite, he's a good one. Had a touchdown interception for return against Evangel. Marcus Jackson will throw. Tries to set up the screen. Nowhere to go. Now throws. Pass caught at the 20. Out to the 25. Nice catch by Jamal Mitchell, but well short of the 1st down. Lee had a couple of guys look like to me downfield offensively. 8 yards though. Kelsey Oliver, who's everywhere, 40 tackles this year, the senior, and Lee goes 3 and out. 4th down and 8 from their 25-yard line. Little jitters for this team that's lost some confidence with those 3 consecutive losses.
You give credit to T.J. Norris for Longview for reading the screen pass play and forcing the quarterback out of the pocket, and Lee has to punt.
Here's the snap to Burke. Gets it off. Nice high driving punt. Pippin's back inside his 30. Now looks for a wall. And he's dragged down. Nice coverage by Lee at the 30-yard line. That time it was Adrian Beard, a 46-yard punt, a 1-yard return. Jamie.
David, as Randy said earlier, first 3 passes by Marcus Jackson were catchable, but all a little bit hard. Sometimes you'll see that a little bit of early game jitters with a first start for Marcus. Also, defensive coordinator J. Law talking to his guys about sealing up that outside, putting a lot of pressure on his safeties to get up there and help in the run game. Also said they've got to play harder on each and every play.
Carlin Freeman is brought in the play from the sidelines. John King, also the offensive coordinator. John Berry, their defensive coordinator. 1st and 10 Lobos at the 30. Straight eye. McGee is the deep man. Ivory the fullback. They run Ivory up the gut. Nope, it's Freeman. What a great job by Carlin Freeman as it looked like Ivory had it. Freeman runs the option and gets 8 yards, give him 9, out close to the 40-yard line. It's second down and maybe 2. Freeman, the senior, and in that game 2 years ago, Randy, he threw the 2 bombs to Malcolm Kelly that took the pressure off of him, but he also ran the option to the outside, to the edges, and Lee, even with a pretty good defense 2 years ago, struggled trying to find out where he was.
Well, he's just very uncanny. He's a very magician-like, if you will, and he just is very efficient as well, and he does a great job on that option play.
2 minutes into the first quarter, Longview already up 7-0. Freeman, fullback, Ivory close to a first down and might have it at the 41-yard line. Nice job that time by Lee defensively to shut him down after a short gain, but George Faber, the middle linebacker there, 5'11", 208, and the safety, Jonathan Williams as well, was there on the stop, but he got a couple of yards, and it's 1st and 10 Lobos just outside their 40.
Well, they've been able to pretty much do as they please, and Lee actually got on the line of scrimmage on that running play and made a nice stop, but Ivory was able to pick up the first down.
Ivory scored the first touchdown last year in the game at Lobo Stadium. Freeman falls on the ground and almost lost it, but he did a nice job of recovering it as he looked like they were kind of go right up the middle, tripped up over an offensive lineman and may have lost a half a yard or 2 back inside the 40, and he actually did drop it, Randy, you said, and he picked it up.
Yeah, it looked like the snap was a little hard to him, and he bobbled the ball around and just had to dive forward, and Lee gets a negative play, albeit very inconspicuously. They need those kind of things to happen right now in the ballgame.
3 minutes into the start of this game, Longview scored in 2 plays. 9 minutes, first quarter. Freeman shotgun, McGee and Ivory next to him. They run the play action. Freeman back to throw, has time over the middle, pass caught by Robinson. What a catch by David Robinson. Quet Nicholson was all over him, but Freeman drills him for a first down at the 44, 16 yards. Adrian Beard was there. Quet Nicholson had good coverage, just couldn't get his hand on the play.
Yeah, the coverage was nice, but it was nice protection for the quarterback. Carlin Freeman had all day to throw the football and went through his progressions and found his receiver cutting across the field, and just a nice play offensively for Longview.
And also, Randy, the nervous thing if you're Jay Law and Randy Huffstickler is he had a lot of time. He had lots and lots of time to throw the football. Play clock is down at 20. Freeman with Ivory, the fullback, and McGee, the tailback at the Lee 44-yard line. Nice catch by Robinson. Freeman runs the option wide, has room, 40. Inside the 40, down to the 37. He got 8 more. George Faber was there. Might have saved a bigger gain down to the Lee 36, and Adrian Beard, who's had 27 tackles so far this year. Second down and 2. Boy, you cannot give. It's going to be a tough night for Lee defensively with the weapons that Longview has, but giving up 8 yards and 14 yards and 9 yards on first down is not going to help. Second down and 2 as Freeman picks up 8. Straight eye. Freeman, deep handoff, McGee at the 35-30, into the secondary, 25-15, inside the 10. And another huge chunk in 25 yards. Vondrell McGee right up the gut on the ISO seam play. Adrian Beard and Zakarian Cuba saved a touchdown, but McGee gets 26 yards down inside the 10.
And he had a mammoth hole up front as Joe Ray is the center and Gordon Booker, the left guard, opened the nice hole. He darts right through it and breaks off in the secondary, and Cuba's there to bring him down for Lee.
Lee with a 4-man front. Freeman, there's movement on the right side that will cost Longview 5 yards as they were giving the ball to the tailback, Vondrell McGee. McGee back early on in the spring. He and teammate Cody Williams both made their commitments to play college football in the Big 12. McGee chose Texas, and Cody Williams chose A&M. The tight end Adrian Reese being recruited heavily, as is Trent Williams, the left tackle, both at 6'3", 290 and 6'6", 200. This will cost the Lobos 5 yards.
Well, Lee's option offense, basically an option eye, if you will. They'll run the ball wide with the quarterback making the pitch, and what makes them even more dangerous are the 2 great running backs they have in Ivory and McGee.
Freeman now the quarterback at the Lee 14-yard line. Robinson near side with Nicholson head up on him. In motion is the big tight end or the H-back. McGee on the pitch wide. Tries to cut it outside and slows down at the 15, and Jeremy Moore What a great tackle by Jeremy Moore. It is hard to bring down Vondrell McGee with one hand, but he did, and he got a nice angle on him, and he actually lost a half a yard.
Well, that's just a great play. Lee has to have those kind of plays where the backs come up. If they're expecting the run, they've got to also watch out for Freeman to throw the ball downfield. But that's a nice play for Jeremy Moore and company.
And also a nice job by Colby Ray to force that thing outside and not let them get the leverage on the outside. So now second down and goal for Longview at the Lee 15. 6:54 to go in the first quarter. Here comes a whistle from the umpire. Timeout Lobos. 6:51 to go first quarter. Longview 7, Robert E. Lee nothing. Back in 1 minute on News Talk 600 KTBB.
As an ETMC first physician, I put my patients first.
That's why I offer same-day appointments.
And I'm close to where you live.
I specialize in pediatrics.
I have advanced diagnostic equipment on site.
I offer extended hours.
The well-being of my patients really matters to me.
ETMC First Physicians are located throughout East Texas, so you can always find a first physician close by. A physician whose specialty is you.
Car shopping can be stressful. With all the clutter out there, it's hard to tell what to buy. But at Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center, we believe that the simplest way is the best way. So we offer a large selection of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to sell with no hassles. Each vehicle has been through a 20-point inspection for quality assurance. You can shop in comfort under the awnings and check out our newly expanded lot with more inventory than ever before. Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center on the corner of Glenwood and Vine and Tyler.
Back at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler, Randy Johnson here in the booth with me, and Eric Horton, our spotter. Jamie Lynn on the sidelines. Producer is Justin Brinker. Engineer is Mike LaRue. Thanks for those of you listening here at the stadium. Whether you're wearing red or green, looks like a big Christmas tree here tonight. And Doyle Pogue, the referee from the Tyler Lone Star chapter, will start play. And here comes Carlin Freeman and the Lobos. They will send Michael George and David Robinson to the far side. Carlin Freeman, play action, rolls to the far side. Chase, pass, tip, caught. 15-10, touchdown. Lee had great coverage. Faber was there, and he lofts it just over his hands. And Chris Ivory, the fullback, comes out of the backfield to catch the touchdown. Adrian Beard in coverage. Lee had a linebacker, and Freeman with great touch that time. Touchdown Lobos from the 15 with 6:43 to go.
Well, Lee had a great blitz on the outside from Beard, but he just couldn't get to Freeman, who finds the fullback who comes out of the backfield to make the catch, and he beats 3 red shirts to the corner of the end zone for 6 for the Lobos.
Ivory has scored 9 touchdowns on the ground and now gets 1 in the air. Here comes the snap. Decker with the kick, and it is good. Our score, 6:43 to go in the first quarter. Longview 14, Robert E. Lee nothing. We're back in 60 seconds on News Talk 600 KTBB.
The DQ Caramel Latte Resistance Test.
Begin.
No! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
Back at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler, and this home crowd for Lee, who has seen a bunch of wins here at this stadium during a tremendous streak by Lee, is in shock. But it's been that kind of a stretch right now where players in position but not quite able to make plays. And now Lee already in a hole, in a bigger hole.
Yeah, David, Longview goes 8 plays and 70 yards, a touchdown pass, 15 yards. Chris Ivory on the reception from Carlin Freeman in 141.
Decker with a high kick. This will be Seaton. He drops it at the 20, and it's loose. And Longview has recovered at the 24-yard line of Robert E. Lee. This has become a nightmare early as the Lobos have recovered Satterwhite, LaDerrick Satterwhite, their cornerback, who's already had a couple of interceptions this year, as Marquis Seaton, that thing went right through his chest, bounced right into the Lobos' hands, and a lot of players with their heads down. And Robert E. Lee's offense and defense right now, let's just be honest, got to show some pride right now. You got to scratch and claw, because this Lobos football team's not going to stop coming at you.
No, they're not. They're just going to be hungrier and even more so. But just a bad break. Seaton lets it get away from him, and Longview recovers. There's one of those turnovers. So.
And the Lobos have spent the entire first quarter in Lee territory. Freeman to the deep back, McGee at the 25, at the 20. Got about 4 yards. Takarian Cuba comes up, forces the spot, and the tackle along with Faber at the 20, but a gain of 4 off that right tackle position. There's no secret where the Lobos love to run the football, even though Big Williams is on the left tackle position.
Well, they'll go all over the field, and of course with number 3, that being McGee, he gets outside with his great speed, but Lee does a great job of containment on that play.
Robinson and George split both directions. George, the flanker, near side. On 2nd and 6, Freeman runs the straight option and runs right into the arms of Matt Uzel and lost a yard at the 21. Matt Uzel, the senior linebacker, who was such a huge factor with that defense last year. His arrival and his development and maturity a year ago allowed Lee to change some things up with Cole Skates, who was already making plays and then made even more plays, as did Matt Uzel.
Well, that's the kind of play Lee needs to have now. This is really the first third down of the ball game for Longview, and Lee needs to make something happen here to hold Longview out of the end zone.
They haven't seen too many third downs so far in 6 weeks. Tight end Reese to the near side. 2 receivers, and McGee is in the slot this way. Freeman rolls to the near side, wants to throw it back across the field, open. 15 at the 10, 5, touchdown, Longview. That was way too easy. Adrian Reese on a little flare. He dragged across the field. Freeman has thrown 2 touchdowns in the first 6 minutes and 41 seconds of this game.
Well, it's just a well-designed play. They come to the near side. He has a blocker running back in front of him, Ivory, to protect him. He pumps the ball back across the field as Reese comes from left side to right, makes the catch, and no red shirts around. He busts through a couple of would-be tacklers for 6 for Longview.
Not many times do you see a game where a team leads 20-0 and the other team has run 3 plays. And that's the case so far. Snap, Decker, kick, it is good. Our score with 5 minutes, 19 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Longview 21, Robert E. Lee nothing. We're back in a minute on News Talk 600 KTBB.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell, going the extra mile against hunger.
In the game of life, there are no timeouts, only time wasted. The path you choose now determines your future. But where can you go to find a sense of purpose? There is a place where team spirit steps off the field and into the classroom, where no victory goes unnoticed, and there's no such thing as wasted time. That place is Tyler Junior College, living life in color, never black and white. Come to Tyler Junior College. We're changing the game. We're changing lives.
5 minutes, 19 seconds to go in the opening quarter, and the Longview Lobos have flexed their muscles big time with a 21-0 lead over Robert E. Lee, and the Red Raiders will go back to field. Another kickoff with Josh Burke and Marquis Seaton. Looks like maybe Jamal Mitchell's now back deep. Decker with a high kick, somewhat short. The kickoff, and that thing comes loose. Just a lot of confusion right now. Josh Batee was there, along with Michael Fuller. Now check that, it was not Fuller. Jamie Lent, sideline.
Defensive coordinator Jay Law asking his guys right now who's got heart. The Red Raiders need somebody to step up defensively and make a play. He's challenging his guys to see who has heart out on the football field. Also says it looks like they're playing scared. Wants them to just have fun out there.
Well, they do look like they've got some stage fright, and it's kind of what it was like against Colerain, remember, early on in Ohio when they were down 14-0. Jason Williams bounces outside 30. Close to a first down, knocked down by the cornerback, LaDerrick Satterwhite, as Lee offensively would love to slow this thing down because the last thing they wanted, Randy, was a track meet. And so far, that's what we've seen. But big Jason Williams, the hammer, gets 9 yards.
He gets a nice block on that left side from his offensive lineman on that side. That being Kirkpatrick with a nice seal block. Longview's drive, by the way, 2 plays, 24 yards in a $120. And they did it with the pass play again.
They have scored, and very quickly. Bailey looks back at Marcus Jackson to get the right snap, the senior at center. One back is Jason Williams, H-back. Marcus Jackson, play action, throws, pass, overshoots his intended receiver, Amy, at the 43, but there were a lot of white jerseys there, and he overshot him enough where it hit the foot of the cornerback, Calvin Jackson, who had come off his receiver, Jonathan Williams, on 3rd and a yard, and Dow in with a smart move right there. Just saying, okay, we think we can get it on 3rd and 1. Let's try to get something to stretch this Lobos defense.
And just right after he threw the ball, the quarterback, Jackson, had number 30 come in, breathing down his neck, and Kelsey Oliver on a delayed blitz for Longview from the linebacker.
So now 3rd and 1. You feel like you can get it on 3rd and 1, but you got to take the snap. You got to make a block, and Jamal Mitchell, the fullback, in the offset eye with Jason Williams. 8 men in the box. Jason Williams outside has the first down outside the 35 to the 37-8-yard line. And boy, Lee, never thought you'd be so excited over a first down, but because of such a tough start, that is a big deal right now.
Well, it is, David. They've got to have some kind of positive things happen. Can't let this score get any more out of the way than it has already. They need a good, long, concerted drive that produces points right now.
Jason Williams trying to continue the line of the great tailbacks that they've had at Lee. Longview's had their share, but so has Lee. Joffrey Reynolds, Derek Farmer, Keandre Smith, Tyrone Ross. Here's a play to Williams, and he's eaten up in the backfield by LaTroy Ayers. 5'10", 250-pound senior who is the strongest player pound for pound on the football team, and he drops Jason Williams for a loss of 4.
That's the kind of plays that Longview's had defensively. They just had outstanding plays and make disruptive plays in the backfield.
That is the 43rd play that Longview has made behind the line of scrimmage. 11 sacks, 42, now 3 tackles for losses. And Lee, 2nd down and 14, down 21-0 at home. Tight end near side, Marcus Jackson, play action, going deep for a seam pattern to Mitchell, overthrows him at the Longview 35. There were 2 defenders there. Michael Mason had broken the play off a little bit on the far side. Might have been open on the sideline, but Marcus going for the big chunk to Jamal Mitchell, who caught a pass. Kelsey Oliver was there, as was the safety Jarvis Pippins.
Well, Longview plays really sound defensive football in terms of on how they cover everybody. And also, that time they watched the quarterback very, very carefully to make sure he didn't try to run outside, and he lofted a pass deep downfield, just 5 yards overthrown. Everyone.
Michael Fuller is checked in at wide receiver. He'll go to the far side. Jonathan Williams to the near side, and Andrew Bailey with a shotgun formation. Mitchell and Williams deep for Lee. H-back is Tyler Fleet in motion, playing with that high ankle sprain. Snap to Marcus Jackson, little shuttle pass, nothing there. Fumble, but right back in his hands. They ran the little pass to Jamal Mitchell inside. He got 2, maybe not even 2, out to the 33-yard line, and here comes the punt team. And the tackle made again immediately by the Lobos at the 33-yard line. Josh Burke into punt.
Well, Lee gets 1 first down, and then the last 3 plays went backwards pretty much, and that's been really the microcosm of the last couple of weeks. When they've needed big plays, they haven't gotten it.
Chase Carlton with a snap. Good snap to Burke, who punts it, turns it over. Nice punt to Pippins at the 20. Makes the first man miss, gets around the corner, but not around Henniger. Henniger, the nice job by John Henniger, the senior, with an open field tackle, and the danger is Jarvis Pippins. And I'll tell you what, Josh Burke with 2 nice punts, Randy, of 46 and 48 yards. Pippins gets 9 on the return, and John Henniger with a very nice open field stop.
Well, you've got to have something positive happen in every phase of the game, and so far with Burke, he's been very dependable in these last 2 kicks, pushing Longview back towards their own end of the field.
Lee defense has got to reach down really deep inside. It is 21-0 Longview with 2:42 to go in the opening quarter at their 30-yard line. Robinson far side, straight eye. McGee up the middle, bounces to about the 34. Nice job of containing him. Uzell was there along with Takari and Cuba. for Robert E. Lee, and at the bottom of the pile was Colby Ray as well.
Well, the flow goes to the right side, and McGee for a split second looked like he might get out of the way of every Lee defender, but Colby Ray and several others along with Faber are there to stop him in his tracks.
They'll bring in another receiver here. This is Michael Harnage, who's checked in. As George checks out, David Robinson far side. They'll have McGee in the slot this time on 2nd down and 5. Freeman runs the flip out to Ivory on the outside, turns the corner, 1st down 40, 45 midfield, and knocked down at the Lee 43-yard line. A couple of missed tackles at about midfield. He stepped out right there, so they did not give him the forward progress. He stepped out at midfield. Roderick Brown chases him down from behind, but he's like a bull getting loose in a gain of 15 yards.
Yeah, he is. He takes that pitch as Freeman delivers it nicely out to the outside, and he just breaks around. There's no one at home for Lee to make the stop at the line of scrimmage. Picks up another 1st down for Longview.
So Longview already in the first quarter, Randy, with just under 2 minutes to go, have runs of double-digit numbers. 6 of their runs have been 10 yards or more. McGee to the fullback. This time Ivory hit at the line of scrimmage, bounces outside, and saving tackle by Takarian Cuba. Somebody hit him at the line of scrimmage, but has been the case, a missed tackle, and he bounces it out for 15 more, and there's a stud there for Lee defensively, but he's making way too many tackles in a way that's a good thing and a bad thing. Takarian Cuba 15.
Well, a nice push from the Lee interior on that play. They block it up, actually runs into the back of one of his own linemen, but Rod Brown is there. Can't wrap him up. He breaks free and picks up another 1st down for Longview.
Tim Hyder is checked in, the 6', 163-pound junior who has recovered a fumble this year with 26 tackles. At cornerback as Adrian Beard gets a break. Longview threatening again at the 35. Deep pitch back to McGee. 35, bounces outside, down inside the 30, and a great job on a tackle on the collar by Michael Wall. Otherwise, McGee was about to get another 1st down, knocked down at the Lee 26-yard line. McGee may have leaned just a little early there. He's so quick. He was already around the corner when he took the pitch from Colin Freeman.
Well, he gets a nice block from his fullback as they run pretty much a student body left, and the 3 white shirts in front of him, and a nice block on Colby Ray by the fullback Ivory.
Taj Lee is checked in for Robert E. Lee at the defensive end position on the near side. Lee has gone back to a 3-man front here. Uzel is on the edge on 2nd down and a yard. In motion, George. Freeman, play action pass, has plenty of time. Going deep in the end zone, tipped away. Very nice play by Tim Hyder. Almost had a chance to pick it off. That ball was intended for George in the end zone, but Tim Hyder, who checked in, remember, just a minute ago, with a nice job of knocking that thing down, and that's Freeman's first incomplete pass of this game.
Well, he does a great job of picking up George right down the middle of the field. Actually, he almost stumbled as he reached for the ball. He could have stepped in front of him. Looked like he was losing his footing there just for a split second and had to knock the ball away.
Michael Hunter has checked out for Lee. He was in there as Lee tries to rotate a lot of young players, juniors in the defensive alignment, and they will send Robinson far side. Remember, he's a big play receiver. Freeman, McGee bounces it outside at the 20, 15, at the 10, inside the 10 to the 9. He got a huge gaping hole on the right-hand side, and he picks up 16 more. He wasn't touched, Randy, till he got to a 15-yard line, and he got down to the 9. Vondrell McGee is closing in at 100 yards, and the Lobos, with 34 seconds to go in the first quarter, are threatening yet again.
Well, that was a great move initially as he sent one Red Raider down on his feet as he cut back. Beautiful run that time from Vondrell McGee.
He is over 100 yards, 103 yards on 8 carries. Straight eye from the lead 9. Freeman to the fullback, Ivory. Hit at the line of scrimmage. Somebody flexed their muscles that time. It was Jacoby McKenzie at the bottom of that. No, George Faber was there for Robert E. the middle linebacker, 5'11", 208, and that should end what has been an all Longview green and white first quarter. Lobos have scored 3 times. McGee with a touchdown run. Freeman with 2 touchdown passes at the end of 1. Longview 21, Robert E. Lee nothing. Back with the second quarter on News Talk 600 KTBB.
Car shopping can be stressful. With all the clutter out there, it's hard to tell what to buy. But at Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center, we believe that the simplest way is the best way. So we offer a large selection of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to sell with no hassles. Each vehicle has been through a 20-point inspection for quality assurance. You can shop in comfort under the awnings and check out our newly expanded lot with more inventory than ever before. Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center on the corner of Glenwood and Vine in Tyler.
As an ETMC first physician, I put my patients first.
That's why I offer same-day appointments.
And I'm close to where you live.
I specialize in pediatrics.
I have advanced diagnostic equipment on site.
I offer extended hours.
The well-being of my patients really matters to me.
ETMC First Physicians are located throughout East Texas, so you can always find a first physician close by. A physician whose specialty is you.
We are back at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler. The lead defense down on their knee near the 30-yard line, talking to assistant head coach Randy Hofstickler. Jerry Reed is down there as well. Willie Williams, as well as the lead coaches, trying to find an answer to what is a difficult question, and that is, how do you stop the green machine, the Lobos offense? And, you know, the offense gets a lot of the attention, but we've seen what the defense can do as well, as they have also come up with a lot of negative plays. Positive for the Lobos, but negative for their opponents.
Well, Lee had the ball all the 12 plays in the first quarter, and only one first down for Lee. Lee's got to keep the Longview offense off the field. They've got to move the ball on the ground. They must get some kind of offense going.
Well, when you're playing a team that is obviously as good as this team is, now Lee has had teams that have been as good as anybody. We've seen that several times the last 8 years. They've beaten the Lufkins, the Longviews, the John Tylers, and the Marshalls when they were good in the mid to late 90s. But they obviously right now are trying to find a way to search for some points. Right now the confidence is just shot. There's no question about it. On both sides of the football, they gave up a bunch of yards to Euless Trinity. But they came in the second half in that game with Colerain. Looked like they may have turned the corner, but it has been tough road. And then last week, the penalties and the turnovers, obviously a chance to win that game. And that one was a 21-14 loss to Rockwall. Longview with a second down and goal from the 8. Freeman runs the option, hemmed in, and lost about a yard. Faber was there. He was hit initially, I think, by Jacoby McKenzie, who may have made the first hit. It was either McKenzie or possibly even Fuller or a Hunter who made the first hit. Michael Hunter's the one that made the first hit. He kind of turned him around, and then Faber was there to make the stop at the 10-yard line or just inside the 10.
Well, the great play from a defensive standpoint on that play was 4 or 5 red shirts all the way following the quarterback with the ball, and they did a great job with assignment football there.
Third and goal now, Longview with George in motion. They run him wide. Cuts it inside the 5, down to the goal line, fumbles the football, but they say he was down at the 1-yard line. That's also the kind of way it's been, but that was the right call. Contact that time created the ball coming out at the Lee 1-yard line, and Longview will go for it here on 4th and goal, 1 minute into the second quarter. He had, again, all the room he needed, and he cut it up. Somebody made a nice job of knocking him down. Brown and Ray back in for Lee. Jeremy Moore. Here comes a flag down. Maybe an illegal substitution or too many men on the field against Robert E. Lee, and if that's the case, that's just a huge mistake. It's going to cost you half a yard.
Yeah, there's 12 on the field right now.
Tim Hyder will check out. That's also the sign of a very young team. We've seen a lot of players
on the defense. Broke the huddle with 12 men. Half the distance, remains 4th down.
So 2 penalties tonight against Lee. One a face mask of 15 yards and a tackle, and that time about a foot, I guess you could say.
Well, they also had a false start too, David.
That's right.
That's 3 for 21 now.
10:43 to go, and Longview at the lead inside their 1-yard line on 4th and goal with a 21-0 lead. Ivory the fullback. Freeman, Ivory, over the top and a touchdown. Longview is leading 27-0. And have been as impressive as advertised.
Just power football there. They surge it to their fullback. He leaps in the air and he goes over 5 or 6 red shirts and dives in the end zone for 6 for Longview. And they've scored every time they've touched the ball thus far in the game.
4 possessions, 4 touchdowns. One of those possessions set up because of a lead turnover. Penalties, turnovers. It's a bad
recipe for sure.
Recipe, especially against a team that is so loaded. Here comes the kick by Decker, and it is perfect. It's 10:41 to go in the first half. Lee is down 28-0 to Longview. Right here on News Talk 600 KTBB.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
The DQ Caramel Latte Resistance Test.
Begin.
Oh! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
Minute 19 gone in the second quarter. And the Longview Lobos, if there's a better football team out there right now, I'd like to know who it might be. We've seen some pretty good ones, Randy. Colerain out of Cincinnati, they were pretty good, but Lee, of course, was a lot closer in that game. And then Euless Trinity was a wrecking machine here, 43-14, but Lee was only down 8 at halftime and had the ball at the Trinity 1 foot line and fumbled. This has been a buzzsaw with the Lobos, 28-0.
Really total domination right now. 10 plays, 70 yards, and 4:01 on that drive. Ivory caps it off with his second score of the night, a 1-yard plunge.
And if you're the defensive coaches for Lee, you're just trying to find answers in the first place, but now you just got to make sure you just find a way, if you can, you got to gain momentum out of this. I mean, this game right here is obviously out of control. Here's Decker, unless, of course, you're a Lobos fan. Josh Burke at the 2, 5, 10, turns upfield, 25. Does he get there? Yes, he does. Cortez Bell was there for Longview, as was Kelsey Oliver. We've called his name now 2 times on tackles on kickoff returns. He's also the starting outside linebacker type rover, and he's also recovered a fumble. No, that was Satterwhite who did that. Longview, a lot of their starters on defense, Randy, also on kick coverage. And Robert Lee, the defense obviously struggling, giving up huge chunks of yards the last few weeks, but it's the offense that has just not been what we've seen over the last 8 years, which has always been very, very versatile. Marcus Jackson, they run the wing-back reverse, and Jamal Mitchell bounces outside for about 3, out close to the 30 to the 28. Gain of about 3 on that little play that Peyton Price made famous, Jimmy Gamble made famous, and a gain of 3. Longview coaches, in fact, on Tuesday, Randy, telling me that one of the guys that they see that, without question, misses from this offense is Peyton Price. With that burst, he could go 50 at any moment.
Yeah, that added a whole total, different dimension for Lee, running the ball up the gut, and they just haven't had it this year yet.
2nd and 7. H-back is Williams. Marcus Jackson, play action, has a man deep. It's going to be caught by Fleet at the 43, but that thing was in the air for like a punt. And you got to give Marcus Jackson tremendous credit, because he took a tremendous shot that time by Cody Williams. That thing hung in the air, and Gary Fleet, his son, Tyler, comes down with a catch and a first down and a gain of 14 yards.
Well, it was a spiral, but it was a floating spiral, and fortunately for Fleet, he stayed with the ball and fielded it in before a Lobo could get to him. But that was a tremendous hit that Cody Williams administered to Marcus Jackson.
Marcus Jackson's a tough kid. Mike Owens glowed about him when I asked him about, if you had to stick a guy in a situation like this. He said he's one that can handle it. Lead down 28-0. Williams, the tailback, little straight up the gut run, 45 midfield, close to a first down. Didn't get a very good mark on the far side, got a better mark on the near side, and it all depends on which mark counts, because it's close to a first down. It's about a half a yard difference between the 2 judges on the side, and they might have to bring out the sticks at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, with the Lee offense right now, really, they had a nice play on the second down play and picked up a first down with the pass, but they really have to find a way to get the ball into the end zone and stop the bleeding right now.
Well, they got to find a way to keep the defense off the field as much as possible as they try to grow up every week, and 3 and outs is not the answer. Nope. Here come the chains. I think he might be right on the line. Jonathan Williams had that monster game, broke the school record for most yards in the game against Chaminade Madonna to open the season. Had a pretty effective game against Waco, over 100 yards. got 80-something, I guess, against Coleraine, and then against Trinity, of course, Lee had to throw the ball quite a bit, but he's having a nice year. But boy, they can all key on him because the passing game has been effective at times, but sporadic. Marcus, deep pitch back. Williams turns the corner. It's Mitchell. And he has a first down to the 44-yard line. Nice, tough run by Jamal Mitchell. 5'9", 173-pound sophomore, Randy. So that's a kid we'll see a lot in the future, and he got a couple of 3 yards in the first down.
He was almost surprised at getting the pitch. It came up on him pretty fast. He grabbed it out of the air and cut back with a nice stutter step and got around 2 Lobo defenders before he's brought down in the secondary by T.J. Norris.
Mitchell has 2 carries for 6 yards, 2 catches for 10, so he's been a part of this offense. Fleet is the H-back, Mitchell the deep back, and Gary Fleet in motion. Kind of leaned a little bit early there. Here's Jason Williams, 35, tripped up at the 33-yard line. Boy, he is, when he goes through that offensive line, he has got that Eric Dickerson style of running. There's a Lobo down at the 35, 11 yards in the carry, and a first down, but there's a Lobo down on his back at the 34 as he went to the knees of Williams, and I think he had a helmet to the knee, and that might be why he's down, and that's Calvin Jackson, the cornerback, who forces. Otherwise, if Jackson's not there, he's gone.
Yeah, it would have been 6 for Williams, but a nice tackle hitting down low at the knees, but he got a knee to the helmet. That can always be dangerous, as we saw the other night on the game with the Green Bay Packers and Terrence Murphy.
Yeah, that was and
that was
by
pretty
the way,
brutal. Yeah.
For those who don't know Terrence Murphy from Chapel Hill, as Jackson's got to wonder, he's a little bit wobbly right now. He is completely almost out on his feet. They gotta grab him, and they do. He took a knee from Jason Williams, and he is wobbly. And we hope Calvin's going to be okay. That could be anything. Most likely concerned about a concussion. Lee's right tackle, John Landis, the very talented sophomore, is missing tonight's game because of that concussion. You got to miss a week if, in fact, that's what you're diagnosed. Amy and Williams to the near side for Lee. Jackson throws, play action. Now has to try to avoid some people at the 35 and slides down to the 31 for a couple of yards. Tell you what, Jacob Amy in the passing game, Randy has really grown up. We saw that against Trinity. That time Chase Brashear and Ben Huddleston were there to create problems. Got a yard.
Well, as you mentioned, Jacob Amy had a nice catch late in the game last week. Went for 52 yards on a slant and almost motored it all the way home. But
I'll tell you what I like about him. He's so big. If you can get him against a corner, you can sometimes get him loose because he can break the tackle. Jackson to Williams, left tackle, nowhere to go, and Brashear was there to get on the bottom of his ankle. He got maybe a half a yard, and that is it. Also at the bottom of the pile, you'll see him. That's 88 Adrian Reese, the tight end, who plays a little bit of both ways as well.
That's a big linebacker, too. He stands out amongst the crowd out there. He cut back inside as Williams tried to come inside, and he knifes him down at his knees.
3rd down and 8 for Lee. 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, and under 8 when they take the snap. Second quarter, 28-0 Lobos in total command here. Offset I. Jackson, play action bootleg, tries to turn the corner, gets around the wide. Oh, no, he doesn't. Now he tries to juke it. Now he throws, passes, underthrown and picked off. Intercepted. Cortez Bell intercepts Marcus, and here comes a flag at the end of the play by the back judge, Dan Metcalf, well after the tackle. And Marcus that time was just trying to make something happen. And this Lobos defense, they will eat up balls that are thrown anywhere. That is their 10th interception. They lead the district, and their plus ratio is now 12 in the turnover category.
That's pretty amazing. Well, I'll tell you what they did. They read the bootleg, and Damian Sadler, number 46, the defensive end, forced to play much further out wide than Marcus wanted to go. Matter of fact, he went 15 more yards downfield and just really threw up a prayer, and Longview was there to pick it off.
There's a flag again, and Doyle Pogue, the referee of the Tyler Lone Star chapter, will walk out to the other side. It might be against the Lobos after the play is over. Nope, it's against Robert E. Lee, and a dead ball foul against Longview. So a 5-yard face mask call against Lee on the tackle, and then a dead ball 15 yards. So it's going to be 5 one way and 15 the next. Here's Doyle Pogue.
We have a live ball, 5-yard face mask on Lee. Dead ball, personal foul, Longview, 15 yards, first down.
So Longview gets the interception. Lee had a nice drive going, but they had to go 3rd and long, and Jackson was pressured. And a great job by Damian Sadler to force Marcus Jackson outside the pocket. He tried to force one, and Cortez Bell was there. Part of being a young quarterback with the experience, trying to learn and get some reps. George in motion, play action Freeman, and he's sacked, and the ball is loose. And Lee has recovered. No, he has not. It looked like Colby Ray had it, but Longview has recovered after all of that as they went with a wide receiver reverse. Freeman tried to hold it on his hip, and Colby Ray sacked him inside the 10, and somehow the Lobos have recovered.
Well, it appeared that Freeman thought a whistle had blown. He was kind of bringing the ball down to his hip.
No, it was play action. It was a play action reverse. He was going to try to throw it deep. Oh, no, that was a reverse play action with it on his hip to try to throw maybe a play downfield. 2nd down, Freeman up the gut. Here's another fumble. And now the ball is loose, and Lee's got it. Jamie.
Yeah, that one kicked around a little bit. Vondrell McGee never got the handle on it. Once it hit the ground, an offensive lineman kicked it about 10 yards into the defensive backfield, but it's Jonathan Williams, the converted wide receiver, playing defense. He comes up with a turnover here for Lee.
So Lee should have probably had the first one, but they didn't fight hard enough for it. But Colby Ray makes the big play. And what was pretty fancy on a reverse play action off the hip of Freeman, but Jonathan Williams, who goes both ways, and not many players at Lee have gone both ways, Randy, in the time we've been doing their game since '91. But they've got a couple of guys having to do that now. Lee at the Longview 15-yard line. They'll stack it to the near side. Jackson pitches it back, and Jonathan Williams had no chance. Absolutely blown up by errors, by also Morris. And that was Jamal Mitchell on the pitch. TJ Norris, 5'11", 205 in Huddleston. And there are those defensive tackles that John King has been talking about with his show with me on Thursday. It was blowing up every play.
Well, they did a great job. They just fought by any blocker that was in their way. And Ayers is a real muscle man out there. He's very quick and low to the ground with a great upper body build.
But you come off a turnover, and you feel like you got some momentum, and then all of a sudden it's 2nd and 14. Marcus Jackson, here's a flag against Lee. Jacob Amy flinched on the count. And Randy, this has been the story of Lee. I don't know when the trend started, but their possessions inside the red zone have really, really been a struggle throughout the year. They had the chance against Coleraine, remember, when they had the fumble recovery and they turned it over in the red zone. They get the ball back again. They get near the red zone. They turn it over.
Ball start on the offense. 5 yards, remains 2nd down.
Trinity at the 1-yard line, they turn it over. Rockwall at the 1-yard line, 4 downs and can't get it in. And it's just kind of been that way. It's an early trend that you got to find a way to get out of if you can.
Well, it started against Coleraine, you mentioned, really in the second half with their inability to get those opportunities into the end zone.
So now 2nd and 19. Jackson wants to throw, now has to run at the 25. Not much room to go. Bounces outside and tackled by Cortez Bell. No, that's 43 that time. Marcus Davis, a backup linebacker, who makes the stop, and Jackson only picks up a couple of yards down to the 23. Now, under 6 minutes to go, it's 28-0 Longview with 5:35 remaining in the second quarter, and Lee has gone backwards on this drive.
Well, Lee has to find a play to get in the end zone or at least get a first down. They can get down right inside the 5-yard line and do that, but doing it is altogether a different thing right now.
Brashear and Norris and Kelsey Oliver bouncing around, but they're back almost in a 7-man secondary front here. Snap to Jackson, wide receiver screen through the hands of Jonathan Williams. Boy, he doesn't have many that go through the wickets, and that thing kind of had him turned a little bit. Now 4th down for Lee. 5:12 to go as they tried to run that little wide receiver screen, and that's the 3rd pass we've seen go through the wickets tonight. Marcus can throw a ball. He's got some zip on it. At times, maybe needs to learn how to take a little bit off, but he does have a gun, no question about it.
Well, it looked like from this vantage point that Jonathan tried to take off downfield before he had the ball, and it went right through his hands.
Yeah, maybe taking his eyes off the football. So here comes 5:12 left. Lee had the ball at the Longview 15 on 1st down. It's now 4th and 18 at the 23. Jackson trying to look for Amy or Williams. Steps up, now has to roll to his right. At the 30, wants to go deep. Back of the end zone. Williams caught it. Touchdown. Jonathan Williams towing the back of the end zone, and Marcus Jackson throws it in the back of the end zone. And Jamie, did you get a look?
Oh, what a play by Jonathan Williams. Reminded me of a center fielder going back to the wall, getting his bearing as to where he is. He looks down at the line and then lays out and tiptoes. The ball, if it's not caught, would have landed about 4 yards past the end zone, but he dives and keeps his toe in. An absolutely amazing catch.
And the extra point by Cleaver is good. Our score, we saw the replay, and it looked like he did get the toe down. I thought initially he was falling out of bounds. 23-yard touchdown with 5:02 to go. 28-7 Longview. Back in 1 minute on News Talk 600 KTBB.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell, going the extra mile against hunger.
In the game of life, there are no timeouts, only time wasted. The path you choose now determines your future. But where can you go to find a sense of purpose? There is a place where team spirit steps off the field and into the classroom, where no victory goes unnoticed, and there's no such thing as wasted time. That place is Tyler Junior College, living life in color, never black and white. Come to Tyler Junior College. We're changing the game. We're changing lives.
Well, you don't see many of these drives, Randy.
No, you don't, David. 4 plays, 15 yards in 150. It's a 23-yard touchdown pass, however, as Jonathan Williams makes a circus catch at the back of the end zone from quarterback Marcus Jackson. Cleaver adds the PAT, and Lee's on the board.
You don't see many drives that are shorter than the touchdown play itself. And remember now, Lee on first down had the 4-yard loss, then the penalty, and then Jason Williams in between. Jamal Mitchell lost a couple of yards, and Marcus Jackson, you can see his ability to move around the pocket, and he just launched that thing. And the Fox Sports Net replays, we don't have a good enough angle, but it does look like a toe is close. Can't tell if it was down or not. They get the call in the back of the end zone with 5:02 to go in the second quarter. 28-7 Longview. And Lee has avoided at least the first half shutout with 5:02 to go. Now the defense has got to step up. They got the turnover a minute ago. Kicking off is Taylor Matlock for Robert. I'll tell you one of the bright spots tonight, Randy, you hate to say it when it's a punting game, but Josh Burke filling in for Preston Hills had punts of 46 and 48. He will get it out of there in a hurry, and he did.
Yeah, he did, and 2 great end-over-end and booming kicks at that.
Pippins and McGee are back deep for Longview. Matlock will approach at the 40 with a high pooch kick that Reese will field as a fair catch at the 25, and that's where the Lobos will take over at actually about the 26-yard line. 5:01 to go in the first half. Tomorrow night on News Talk 600 KTBB, Bill Coates, Kevin Simon, and Steve Rhodes, with engineer Mike LaRue and Justin Brinker, the producer, will be at Hanby Stadium in Mesquite, one of the shrines of high school football, with their new facilities. That game between John Tyler and Mesquite, a critical game in 12-5A. Lobos here with Carlin Freeman at the 26-yard line. Lee with a 4-man front. Freeman runs the reverse option at the 25 and will squeeze out to the 30 to the 33-yard line and got 6 yards.
Nice option again. He runs it so well. He's very deceptive. He's not a real big guy at 5'8", 170. Keeps the ball low. It really doesn't do a fake that time. Just cuts back inside, and no one at home on the end for Lee, and he picks up 7 on the first down.
That time as well for Longview. Michael Berryman was in, the tight end. They keep on rotating a couple of folks. George Faber, by the way, made the stop for Lee at the linebacker spot. 2nd and 4, Longview with their 33 up by 21. Freeman to the tailback, McGee, and he runs into Uzel and tries to fight forward, and Lee got penetration that time. Quet Nicholson helped, but it was Matt Uzel who made the initial stop as McGee got maybe a couple out close to the 30. Boy, he got a good mark at the 35, and it's 3rd down and a yard.
Now, Lee really it would be great if they could get a stop here on 3rd and short. And, of course, they have a little momentum from the nice touchdown reception after the Longview turnover. Let's see if they can make a play here on a big third down.
They got the big fullback, Ivory, who scored on that 4th and 1 from the 1. McGee back, first down, outside the 35. There was penetration again. Uzell was able to penetrate. Brown was there, but they just couldn't quite get to him in time. That was Jonathan Williams, And McGee picks up 4 yards and a tough run. Sometimes with the great running backs, the highlight reels are 60, 80, 90 like last year, but sometimes the better runs are for 3 and 4.
But he's got a great fullback in front of him, and Ivory is able to make a key block on Rod Brown on that play to kick him out.
So first down, Lobos at their 38. 3:41 to go in the opening quarter. They're up 21. There's the fullback. Ivory ran right into the back of his center, Joe Reyes. But look at the bottom of the pile. Michael Wall, Jacoby McKenzie. Faber was there as Ivory gets a couple of yards just outside their 40.
Just a big push up front. Lee is doing a little bit better job. Unfortunately, they're 3 scores down. These are the type of defensive plays they need to have on the first drive or two, but they do get a nice pinch that time for a short gain.
Robinson and George split wide for Longview at their 40-yard line, just outside. McGee in the slot near side, and Ivory goes in motion that way. McGee, Freeman, quarterback draw. 40, 45. He's got a first down midfield and knocked out of bounds at about the 43-yard line. He got a seam that time and a nice block by 71, Trent Williams. There's a flag at about the 30 of the 43-yard line. And now we just got to check the flag. Michael Hunter in on the stop that time. And an illegal shift. I think when Ivory went in motion, he kind of was leaning, or at least that's what they're telling John King, the offensive coordinator and the head football coach of the Lobos, that Ivory might have been leaning just a tad as he went in motion. So instead of first down, and Freeman with that quarterback draw, as they spread everybody wide, Randy opened up the middle, and he... Okay, now my question here is, okay, the second down and 13, a 5-yard mark-off against the Lobos.
Well, that's a break for Robert E. Lee. They can take whatever, anytime they get a penalty against Longview, it's nothing but a big advantage for Lee to take care of that opportunity.
So under 3 minutes to go now in the first half, 28-7 Lobos. They've scored 21 in the first quarter, early on in the second. 3 receivers set near side, Robinson with McGee in the slot. Freeman in the shotgun. Wants to go deep. Robinson, the intended receiver. Pass dropped. Nice job. Great coverage by Tim Hyder as Robinson was there. It hit his hands, but Hyder did a great job that time and knocked it loose, and that's the second time we've seen the junior Tim Hyder come up with a big play in pass coverage.
Once again, though, Freeman has plenty of time to throw the football. He's able to really keep the ball down at his thigh, at his hip level, and then wind up and throw it. But you mentioned Tim Hyder reads the ball beautifully, coming in behind Robinson to knock the ball away just as it hits his hands, and Lee gets another big play, and now a big long third down upcoming for Longview.
3rd and 13 for the Lobos at their 35-yard line. They'll go McGee slot far side, split Reese the tight end to the near side, Freeman in the shotgun. No pressure. Now he has to move a little bit. Now he throws downfield. It is caught. McGee at the 30. 3 Lee Red Raiders were there, but nobody just could break in the ball in time. Very nice throw, and Vondrell McGee has a first down, and Takarian Cuba limps at the 27-yard line.
And I got to say, I don't think he was even the intended receiver initially. Freeman's looking downfield for Reese, and he throws the ball a little short of him, behind him, and here comes McGee to pick the ball up in the air, and he's uncovered. He breaks away from a couple of red shirts in the secondary that time. He makes a great catch for a big play downfield for Longview.
To the 27-yard line, 2:26 to go. Longview with a huge third down conversion. They hand it to Ivory, the fullback, and he knifes down for a couple of yards. Hyder was there trying to strip that thing loose for Robert E. Lee, along with a couple of others. Jeremy Moore, who's been around the football. Jonathan Williams was there. And Tim Hyder. Oh, they got Takarian Cuba's really struggling to get up. He is playing as hard as he can. He's been involved in a bunch of tackles at that safety position. That Freeman catch, by the way, that Freeman throw to McGee, 35 yards on 3rd and 13. You know, I know that this is a 21-point lead. Longview's been in total control, but a 3rd and 13, you force a punt, you never know, to try to get this thing respectable. But now here come the Lobos again. Second down as Ivory got 2. Freeman up the gut. Here's a flag. and he got about 3. George Faber got to the ankles and made the stop that time, but a flag comes down from the near side, and I'm not sure it's either offensive procedure, a shift, and maybe as they go to the other side of the field if somebody was lined up offside, but it might have been an illegal shift or formation. Minute 33 to go, procedure against the Lobos. That's about the only thing negative they've done.
Yeah, their 4th penalty now for 30 by my count. Maybe a miss. Yeah, that's correct. That's the only thing knocking them back, and they're getting the big 3rd down plays. They've converted their last 2 on this drive.
So Longview now, after the 2 or 3 yard pickup by Vondrell McGee. McGee in the first half with 11 carries for 111 yards. That's easy math. That's 10 yards a pop. Also the 35-yard catch. Both of their fullback and tailback have caught passes in this game. One for a touchdown, one for a first down. Robinson far side, 2nd down, under a minute and a half to go in the first half. Freeman play action as all day. Going deep, Robinson, coverage is down there by Nicholson. Caught, touchdown. David Robinson, and again, Nicholson was there with the coverage, but Quett got turned around, and the 6'3" David Robinson over the 5'10" Nicholson, touchdown, 30 yards, and the Lobos are back on the board.
Man, he just really did a great individual effort from David Robinson. He found the ball. Nicholson saw it too, but Nicholson outran the play slightly, allowing Robinson to cut back in and reach over the top of his helmet, and he makes a nice grab for 6 for Longview.
34-7 Lobos. And remember, they overcame a 3rd and 13. That was 2nd and 13. And the coverage was in, again, the area, but the size advantage, and Quett Nicholson got turned around. Extra point, Decker is good. Minute 11 to go in the first half. You're listening to Robert E. Lee Football. 35-7 Lobos on News Talk 600 KTBB.
Car shopping can be stressful. With all the clutter out there, it's hard to tell what to buy. But at Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center, we believe that the simplest way is the best way. So we offer a large selection of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to sell with no hassles. Each vehicle has been through a 20-point inspection for quality assurance. You can shop in comfort under the awnings and check out our newly expanded lot with more inventory than ever before. Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center on the corner of Glenwood and Vine and Tyler.
As an ETMC first physician, I put my patients first.
That's why I offer same-day appointments.
And I'm close to where you live.
I specialize in pediatrics.
I have advanced diagnostic equipment on site.
I offer extended hours.
The well-being of my patients really matters to me.
ETMC First Physicians are located throughout East Texas, so you can always find a first physician close by. A physician whose specialty is you.
Our score with 1:11 to go in the first half. Longview 35 and Robert E. Lee 7, and a 30-yard touchdown pass from Carlin Freeman to David Robinson.
David, 8 plays, 74 yards, and 352 for Longview, and they top it off with the pass play you just mentioned.
Here's Decker with the kick. It's high and it's pretty deep, and it's Jamal Mitchell about 2 yards deep in the end zone. He'll kneel at about 2 yards deep, and Lee will have the ball at their 20-yard line with 1:11 to go in the first half, coming off a drive in which they scored on that 15-play drive on the 23-yard touchdown from Marcus Jackson to Jonathan Williams. One of the nicest catches Jamie said he's ever seen at any level, high school, college, or pro, as he tried to toe the back of the end zone. And Lee now at the 20-yard line, down by 28 points, and will try to update the last time somebody put 35 points on them in one half. It has been a long time. Marcus Jackson with play action bootleg will just keep it at the 15-20, and will put his head down and get about 4 out to the 24-25-yard line. And on the tackle over there, 34, we've seen him quite a bit. That is TJ Norris, Cartez Bell, Cody Williams. Boy, Williams is a big one, 6'5", 230 senior. And Marcus Davis as well, as Longview rotates those defensive linebackers. And LaTroy Ayers, is that a fire hydrant or what? Number 60, look at the upper body and lower body. That is a very low to the ground guy. There's a flag down apparently, possibly at the end of that play. A lot of discussion with the officials at the 25-yard line on what was a pretty, what looked like normal little bootleg. Doyle Pogue, the official from the Tyler Lone Star chapter. Boy, a lot of discussions. It's a TV game. They want to get a little prime time themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And Doyle Pogue now the referee of this game, and it's going to be against Robert E. Lee.
We have 2 fouls. We'll penalize 10 yards for a live ball hold, and then 15 yards for a dead ball personal foul, which will result in a first down.
That's the second time, Randy, we've seen one side get a penalty, which is a live ball penalty, and then a post-game personal foul or a post-play personal foul. Second time that's gone against the Lobos in this game. Lee will have a first down at the 23-yard line.
Yeah, that's one of those things that happens. I think there's probably a lot of talking going down on the field, and Longview's really kind of pumping their chest right now, I imagine, and they're getting caught by the officials when they're doing it.
Under a minute to go in the first half. Amy and Fuller to the near side for Lee. Williams the lone setback, play action. Jackson gets around the corner, wants to throw it, pass is caught. Fleet close to a first down at the 38-yard line as he hopped over Kelsey Oliver that time and is close to a first down. He's got it at the 38-yard line with 38 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, Lee's able to get the score they needed. Of course, being 4 scores down when they do it, they're able to get on the board, but they allow Longview to drive right back down the field and take away what little momentum that they had gained earlier in the quarter.
Lee will, again, they've got all 3 timeouts left, but Mike Owens trying to get this thing maybe in the locker room. Here's a stretch to Jason Williams, first down 40, maybe, well, just outside, just close to the marker. Spot at the 49. He did get out of bounds. That will stop the clock, and I think has another first down at the 49. And that is a play that Lee has won a lot of football games with, that stretch to the deep back, whether it's been Joffrey Reynolds, John Porter, Derek Farmer, Keandre Smith, Tyrone Ross, and now Jason Williams.
Well, they're not going to throw in the towel. You know, this team is going to come to play, and what you're going to find here is a little gut check to see if they can get in the end zone here before the half.
30 seconds to go in the half as they wind the play clock, and Jackson in the shotgun takes the snap. Here comes pressure. Fade throw out to Jason Williams, and there are Lobos everywhere. Breaks the first tackle and gets out of bounds at the 48. Boy, that's a dangerous tackle out there down near the ankles, and he was able to get straight to the bench, and nice job by Marcus Davis again. Boy, he's been everywhere for a backup linebacker in a loss of 3. And the timing on that play, Randy, is obviously off right now as he lost 2 yards.
Well, it's disrupted because of LaTroy Ayers busting through the middle. It looked like 2 lead linemen were trying to block him, and he almost got to Marcus Jackson, and Jackson was able to dump it outside to his receiver, Jason Williams.
Fuller, near side. Amy in the slot. Jackson is the shotgun formation with Jason Williams right next to him, and here comes Cruz Fry in motion near side. Movement, no. Here comes Jackson in the shotgun. Steps up, now looks in trouble. Tries to break free and caught from behind, and a great job of hustling by T.J. Norris, and that might. Nope, timeout Lee at the 49-yard line is great coverage. That's a coverage sack right there. Even though he might have gotten a yard or two, Norris and Davis were disrupting that play, and Marcus Jackson will come to the sideline as Lee has used their first of 3 timeouts.
Well, Longview really does a good job of coverage down the field. No one open for Lee. All 3 receivers that were out in the pattern were all nicely covered by the Lobos in white, and Marcus has to tuck the ball in a little late, and he's able to pick up just a short gain.
11 seconds to go in the first half. Jamie Lent will have a comment or two from Mike Owens at halftime. Lee has a game on the road the next 2 weeks. They have seemed like for me it seemed like it's been like a month and a half, but it was just a couple 3 weeks ago they lost to Trinity here. Opened up at home and then went on the road to Waco, went on the road to Columbus, Ohio, came back for the game against Trinity, and then of course the loss to Rockwell after the bye week. And it's third down Lee as they called the timeout, and they'll try to see if they can chuck one downfield. Jackson does have the gun to get it downfield. Does he have the time to do anything with it?
That road game in 2 weeks is right here at Rose Stadium as Lee's the visitor against John Tyler.
Yep.
So.
Third down, and that's exactly right. The game they have at Rose Stadium. Jackson fumbled the snap, and that's going to pretty much do it right there. They call timeout again. And that time, you know what Marcus tried to do? He was wanting to make a play. He took his eye off the snap, and it just went right down the midsection, and they lose 5 yards back to the 42-yard line.
Yeah.
As good as the Longview offense is, and there's no question they set the tempo, this defense is averaging only allowing 146 yards a game. And what's surprising about that, it's not that they're holding people to that. As early as they jump on people, Randy, and Longview has had some monstrous leads in the first quarter, much less the first half, they're only allowing 90 yards a game passing, and that is knowing that most people have fallen behind on them.
3 and 4 scores. We made mention of Mesquite 2 weeks ago earlier. Longview's up 28-0 at the half, but they were up 28-0 early in the second quarter, much like tonight, except Mesquite was never able to score. And what Longview did is knock quarterbacks out of the game, and they just disrupted anything Mesquite could do offensively, and they gave Lee trouble tonight early on as well.
5 seconds to go in the first half. This could be the last snap of the first half, barring a defensive penalty against the Lobos as they send back Kelsey Oliver, Pippins, and what looks like Cartez Bell. Marcus Davis, and they got the big tight end Reese in again. Jackson throws deep. Pass could be intercepted. It is. Satterwhite wants to come back with it at the 10 and will be hit by Cruz Fry. Check that. Fuller with the stop that time, along with Amy as he throw that thing downfield. Satterwhite with a pick, and that's another turnover. But flags, I think, blocks in the back or whatever against the Lobos on the return. Yes, Jamie with Mike Owens. It's still a penalty to look at. I think it's going to be against the Lobos on a block in the back. And that will end the half, even though the interception will count. And that will end the half at 35-7. Jamie.
All right, Coach, you guys have had some trouble getting any pressure on the quarterback. Do you feel like that's something you need to do to be successful on defense?
Getting pressure on their quarterback? Well, yeah, I think we need to do a lot of things, but we're not getting it done. They got a heck of a football team, and we're making too many mistakes to give them an opportunity to do things, and we can't do that.
Your offense has been hit or miss. Do you blame that on some of your self-inflicted penalties and mistakes?
I didn't hear what you said.
Your offense has been kind of inconsistent in the first half. Do you blame a lot of that on the inconsistency with yourself making some mistakes with penalties and such?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. We've got some penalties. We're, doing some things we shouldn't be doing, and it's causing us a problem. And plus, we're playing a great football team. So that's, that in itself is bad enough. But then you start doing what we've been doing, then, we got serious problems.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, that's Lee's Mike Owens with Jamie Lent. Our halftime score is Longview 35, Robert E. Lee 7. And we're back after this on News Talk 600 KTBB.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell, going the extra mile against hunger.
The DQ Caramel Latte Resistance Test.
Begin.
No! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Mou Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
Jeremy Darcy. That's Matthew Sullivan. The Southern Bells perform a stringer jazz routine to the music You Really Got Me.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
The DQ Caramel Latte Resistance Test.
Begin.
Oh! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Mou Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell, going the extra mile against hunger.
Robert E. Lee's down 28 points here as we start the second half, and Lee will get the ball from the east side of the end zone against the wind to start the third quarter. Lobos with Zach Decker will be kicking off to a couple of Red Raiders in the back, probably Jamal Mitchell and Josh Burke. And well, Randy, we have done this game a long time. This is my 167th broadcast of Lee football ever since a game in September of 1991. In the early years of the 90s and the mid-90s and early in 96 and 97, there were a couple of thumps. I mean, Lee got thumped around a little bit. John Tyner 55-7, 42-7. Longview won big one year as well. But there have not been many one-sided games since 98. Their two losses, remember, in 98 were both by 6 points, and then they lost in the playoffs to North Mesquite in the game they almost won. Lost, I think, by what, 6 or whatever. Right. And then really from that point on, Longview thumped Lee about 3 years ago, 31-14. But other than that, when they've lost, it has been dogfight, triple overtimes, things like that. And boy, they haven't been down 28 in a long, long time.
It's almost as if Longview's playing against air in certain situations, and you hate to say that, but that's pretty much how it looks right here from our vantage point. And the lead-in music was really symbolic, against the wind. And
yeah.
Lee's playing against the wind, you know. And
they're playing against a great football team.
Oh, yeah.
This is
they're fighting against the wind.
Longview's had some really, really good football teams over the many, many years, of course, that they've been playing football. And this one might be as good as they've had. But here's the kickoff. Mitchell bounces off of his chest, tries to pick it up, and it comes loose again. Outside of the 10. Jamal Mitchell, that's the second time on a kick return where a ball has hit a guy right in the chest. One time Seaton, that time Mitchell. And those are concentration plays, and you do all the talking, you do all the pep talk, the adjustments. Let's go, guys, let's play for pride. And You go in the locker room, you come back out, and the first thing you do is you start this drive inside your 15.
Well, confidence-wise, this Lee team is probably at their lowest point thus far this season, and they got to find a way to battle back and fight through it because there's still a lot of football left to play throughout this year.
Marcus Jackson starts at quarterback. Bailey, Carlton, Trimble, Gibson, and Kirkpatrick on the offensive line. They bunch it on the right side. Fleet in motion, the H-back. And they'll run that stretch to Williams and breaks a tackle. Stiff arms outside the 20 to the 22-yard line. Nice, tough run. Brashear was there. Boy, we've called his name quite a bit. And it's close to a first down. I think he's just shy at the 22-yard line. Needed about another yard to go, and they're going to maybe bring the sticks out. It's always has driven me crazy, Randy. You have a ball, a guy goes out of bounds on the other side of the football field, and I think he's just shy. The official marks it on the near side. Then they start throwing the ball around to mark it on the hash mark, and then they bring the sticks out. Why not bring the sticks out where you had the mark?
Initially, right.
I mean, you could lose a football. That's either way. That's just there's two things in the rules in high school football. The other one is that you can have the lead, jump off sides, or get a holding call, and they will penalize you and then start the clock back up. If you have the lead, why wouldn't you want a penalty on every play?
Well, they probably got a little bit of a bonus push there. They got the first down on the initial play of the drive.
Here's a little fullback counter, little trap play to Jamal Mitchell for about 3 or 4 out close to the 25-yard line, and he got 2.5. Mitchell, 27, the sophomore, getting a lot of play, and Nathan Tucker last week, among many others who were injured, hurt his shoulder, his left shoulder, and not playing tonight.
I think you'll see Lee concentrate on keeping the ball on the ground. If they can get any kind of positive yardage on first and second down, that's what we'll see here in this drive.
Cortez Bell, who's had a big game, the strong safety with a stop. Longview with a 4-man front. Little play action, bootleg. Jackson throws sideline. Mason caught it 30, close to a first down. He's got it at the 33-4-yard line, and pretty similar to the first series that they had a couple of drops, not this time, Jamie.
And you can really see Marcus Jackson improving and progressing as this game goes along. We talked about it early in the ball game where it was a little bit tense, throwing the ball a little bit too hard where he needed to put a little touch on it late in that first half and early here in this second half. You can see him doing a much better job of leading his receivers and making it a much more catchable ball.
Michael Mason picks up 8 yards on the little throw from Marcus Jackson. There's Stack Mitchell on the wing. They run that wing back counter, and he gets a couple of 3 yards outside the 35 for about 3 to the 37. 10:44 to go in this third quarter. 35-7. Lobos up by 28.
Well, that counter, if you will, or misdirection was what Peyton Price really specialized in, and we mentioned earlier in the game, they just haven't had that big push. But Mitchell does have a little bit more spark, it appears, when he gets the ball. He knifes through and picks up a short yardage there on first down.
Mike Owens also told me that he's completely fearless. He's a very tough young man. 2nd down and 7. Couple of minutes into this game, Marcus Jackson steps up in the pocket, now flushed and sacked. LaTroy Ayers was there, but initially it came from the outside that forced him to step up in the pocket, and Marcus Jackson spun around and loses about 4 back to the 31-yard line, and Lobos had 7 guys coming that time on that play.
Yeah, Marcus Davis, Chase Brashear, LaTroy Ayers, you name it. Those 3 on that left side knifed on through and disrupted the entire flow of the play, and Jackson had to eat it and takes a sack.
9 minutes and 40 seconds to go, third quarter. Play clock is at 15, and Lee is looking to the sideline, and they are confused on this call, and they're going to have to call a timeout with under 10 seconds. Now they rush to the line of scrimmage. Play clock is at 5. If there's any motion, they won't get it off in time. They do. Great job by Marcus. He's in trouble again, though. Tries to get away. Face mask call here. He was sacked back at the 15 by Damian Sadler, but he got a piece of the face mask. And Marcus Jackson continues to run for his life, but a 15-yard personal foul will wipe this out and give Lee an automatic first down.
The right side of the Lee line, the last 2 plays, has just been blown up, annihilated. They haven't been blocking. And Ayers is there, and you mentioned on that play Sadler, and also Ben Huddleston knifes through, but Lee catches a break here.
Huddleston, his brother played on the team a year ago.
That was Sam, that's correct.
5'11", 200-pound senior, and he is very disruptive. LaTroy Ayers is 5'10", 240. And you look at LaTroy Ayers, he is
a fire hydrant.
Yeah, he is a thick defensive tackle that is quick as he can be. Here's Jason Williams on the stretch, hurdles a man at midfield and leans into Longview territory. Nice tough run as Jason ran over the linebacker Oliver that time and got 5 yards. Pippins was there. Gets inside Lobo territory at the 48-yard line, and a gain of 6 that time for Jason Williams. 3 minutes into the third quarter as Lee is just trying to put together something in the second half, Randy, that gives them confidence for what they have to do, which is basically run the gamut and run the table in the last 4 weeks of the year if they have a chance to make it in the postseason.
If they want to get there, they're going to have to do that. And it starts right now to gain some confidence here in this second half and see what they can make of it.
Stack for Lee. They run that wingback counter to Mitchell. Nothing there as he ran right into the tight end that time. Tyler Fleet, playing with that high ankle sprain, just couldn't get any movement, and Huddleston was there again for Longview, and Jamal Mitchell just ran right in the back of the Tyler Fleet. It's 3rd down and 4.
Lee's not getting the type of pancake blocks they used to get like last year, for example. Of course, this is a totally different offensive line, and in that play, 2 white shirts really knife through and disrupt the play, not allowing Lee to get anything on the ground.
So 3rd and 4. Robert E. Lee will have Amy here on the split with Williams in the slot. They run Jason wide, not much room to go, and he's going to be short of a first down. Boy, that was also a bread and butter play. He is short by about yard and a half as Norris and Cartez Bell was there to make the stop as Jason picked up 3. It brings up 4th and a yard, and obviously Mike right here with 7:35 to go, down 28, pretty much having to go for it without question.
Yeah, without question, they're going to have to get a first down, and they've eaten up the entire nearly first half of the third quarter already with this short drive they've got motoring down, and another big 4th down coming up for Lee.
Amy will split to the near side, will not even get to the huddle as he will be wide. This is those big disruptive defensive tackles, man on man with Kirkpatrick, Carlton, Bailey, Trimble, and Gibson. Offset eye, Jackson, stretch, didn't make it. Fumbled the football anyway. And Longview has recovered. And the reason that play didn't work is because Ben Huddleston, the senior, was 4 yards deep in the backfield before Jason Williams took the snap. Not only is it a loss of 3, but it's a turnover. That's the 4th of this game.
That's the 4th against Lee. Chase Brashear comes up with a fumble for the Lobos, and you mentioned Huddleston and Ayers as well. They just are beating the Lee linemen off the blocks, and they're in the backfield as the play was unfolding. And,
but they've been doing that for 6.5 weeks. They've done that to everybody, and John King has told me that it was it's been a pleasant surprise that they've been so disruptive. He just said, guys, just pin your ears back and create problems. Here comes Longview, and Ivory runs the fullback dive, and he takes 2 or 3 shots and will lose a couple of 3 yards. He got drilled as he took the handoff. Now, one spot is at about a loss of a yard, but he did separate. Jeremy Moore for Lee is down and grabbing a knee at the 41-yard line. 6:47 to go, third quarter. Longview 35 and Robert E. 7, and we're back after this.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
The DQ Caramel Latte Resistance Test.
Begin.
Oh! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Mou Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell going the extra mile against hunger.
Really good news for Jeremy Moore. He initially grabbed at his right knee, and he did come up off the field in his own power. He's bouncing around, wanting to get back in. Might have been a cramp. Ivory lost 5 yards on that play. In fact, lost 6 on a fullback dive. I couldn't see who made the initial hit for Lee, and it probably was either McKenzie or Faber. And it's 2nd and 16 for the Lobos.
Yeah, it was around the right side of the line. Yeah, McKenzie's there, Wall's there, and Faber as well. And then 3 or 4 of the red shirts come in as Ivory would not go down, but he backed up on his own accord after getting hit initially and loses, like you mentioned, 6 yards.
So 6:48 to go. The officials timeout because of the injury to Jeremy Moore, who had that big fumble recovery. Remember, early on against Waco High, and ran that thing back near midfield that led to Lee's first score of that win, 21-7. McKenzie, Beard, Ray, Tucker, Cuba, Faber, Uzel, Brown, Wall, Hyder in the game right now for Lee on defense. And here comes Jonathan Williams as Jeremy Moore has to come out for a play after the injury timeout.
It looks like Lee's gone back to their 3-man front too as well. They have not deployed Brotherton in this series.
Lee went to the 3-man front at the end of the 90s to try to combat the spread that Lufkin ran. And they were able to really do a great job year in and year out, with the exception of the Reggie McNeil senior year. Carlin Freeman, play action, pass sideline, overshoots Robinson, who was there. Beard with nice coverage, by the way, as Adrian Beard is on one side and Hyder on the other. Nicholson out, and it's 3rd and 15.
Nice coverage.
Where did they get these 6'3" Rogers Taylors, Malcolm Kellys, David Robinsons? They've had them all as long as I covered Longview football in the early mid 80s, as you know, and they had big, tall receivers back then too.
Well, when I was there, they weren't real tall. We were pretty fast, but there was no real height except on the basketball team with Stephon Johnson and Jerry Raxford.
3rd down at the 41. Freeman runs the draw to Ivory. He's hemmed in, and what a nice job by Michael Hunter, who comes up and knocks Ivory down, and that's the first time the lead defense, besides the turnover, has gone and stopped Longview with any kind of possession. Plus, you got to know the Lobos, let's be honest, have to be somewhat, I guess you could say, unfocused after the big 35-7 halftime, but give Lee's defense credit. Michael Hunter came up and knocked down the fullback.
And he did a great job. He forced it outside. He read the play beautifully as Ivory was trying to get around him, and he couldn't do so. And Longview's going to punt.
Longview's going to punt. This doesn't happen very often. Freeman averages 34 yards a punt, gets a nice snap, gets the punt off in a nice high, turned it over. Fair catch by Jonathan Williams at the 23-yard line. Astros, by the way, are trailing Atlanta 6-1. Cardinals beat the Padres 6-2 earlier today to lead 2-0 in that particular series. It now shifts to San Diego. The Astros trail, and I can't catch an inning, but 6-1. Braves, I almost said Falcons, lead the Astros. 37-yard punt by Carlin Freeman, and the fair catch by Jonathan Williams. So Lee will start this drive in their 23-yard line. They'll take Cruz Fry and send him out to the far side. Jacob Amy near side. He's been shut out tonight. Fleet in motion. Jackson up the gut. Jonathan Williams got about 2 or 3. Was hit immediately in the backfield, though, and was able to break the tackle of 96 Brandon Brown, the 6', 240 junior. But Jason got about 3. Dorinda Fry and Vicki Williams are the co-chairman of the Lee Moms Club. Both kids in the lineup at the same time. Marcus Davis. Eric Horton, by the way, trying to do what is a very difficult thing, and that's replace Kerry Ainsworth as a spotter. He's done a great job. 3-yard pickup. Jason Williams, 12 carries, 59 yards. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Jackson play action, sets up in the pocket, flag is down, caught! Fuller first down, but this might come back. Well, once you finally get something pretty good going, and here comes the hanky, Doyle Pogue, the referee, threw that, called a holding against Robert Elias, going to come back. Nice catch. That was a dart, by the way, and Fuller with a nice job of pulling that thing down and got about 6 to 8 yards after the catch.
It's one of those things that's been happening in the last few weeks against Lee. They have a great play, a really well-executed play, and Fuller cuts back inside after making the catch and picks up additional yardage. but it's one Lee keeps shooting themselves in the foot, and it's been ongoing now since the Colerain game.
And even during the years when Lee was struggling in 96, they were obviously a playoff team every year since 97. They have rarely ever been a team that had problems with the penalty flags, but this year they have come in waves. Second down, that's what happens when you have an experience. It's part of the deal. Lone setback, Williams, counter Trey. Sneaks out for about 3 or 4. Cortez Bell hit him. He got most of it back close to the original line of scrimmage where the drive started at the 23-yard line, and that will set up 3rd and long.
Yeah, he cuts back inside and gets a block, a nice block from Bailey at center and Trimble, the right guard, but he can't get away from 2 or 3 of the white shirts. Chase Brashear there also for Longview on the tackle.
Jason Williams and this Lee offense facing a long uphill struggle here. Marcus Jackson put in such a tough situation, but this won't be his last start, by no means. Jackson pass caught. Oh, what a throw that was. That was big time to Jacob Amy outside the 40. Got a first down and a gain of 17 yards. There was double coverage, and Marcus just drilled it that time, Jamie.
Well, Marcus Jackson has done a terrific job tonight in the pocket. Longview has done a great job of getting pressure on him, but something you don't usually see from an inexperienced player. He doesn't rush out of the pocket. He finds an opening and then finds a receiver.
Marcus Jackson will get you his stats in just a moment. Marcus Davis was in coverage that time, but what a dart by Marcus. Here's that wingback reverse. Williams at the 45 and only got a couple of 3 yards. He ran into a roadblock. Cortez Bell is a player, I'm telling you right now. Damian Sadler and Chase Brashear, the senior, was there. Only a 170-pound middle linebacker, but he is everywhere, and a gain of 3 for Jason.
Yeah, Jason couldn't get outside. The block wasn't made, and Bell comes up from his safety spot and lays the wood to him up top. And you mentioned Brashear down low, and they are there to make the stop.
Marcus Jackson, 8 of 15, 2 interceptions, the 1 touchdown to Jonathan Williams for 83 yards so far tonight. Second down and 7, Lee at their 45, down by 28. The stretch to Williams, nowhere to go. Huddleston was there. Ben Huddleston has 26 tackles before the night started. He ran right through his offensive lineman. Kelsey Oliver, the rover, made a stop as well, and Williams got a yard. It's 3rd down and 6.
Well, Longview just throws more athleticism by the wave, if you will, and they just get after the football. That time Huddleston beat his lineman off the blocks and just gets to Williams before he can get outside and knocks him down for no gain.
3rd and 7, 3rd and maybe 6.5 for Lee. Jonathan Williams far side. Fuller to the near side. Williams in the slot, and Jackson will throw. Back to throw, sets up the screen. He's got Mitchell. Breaks a tackle. First down, 45. What a great play by Jamal Mitchell. That is a little bit of what we've been looking for there. Jackson makes the stop, but Jamal Mitchell was stopped 6 yards short of the first down. But Randy, as you said, this guy's got something right there in the neck, and he got about 12 more.
Well, he makes a great move on Marcus Davis, who had him dead to rights right after he caught the ball, and he just shook free of him, shot back up the field, and broke another couple of tackles, and gets another first down for Lee on a 12-yard gain.
Under 3 minutes to go in a scoreless third quarter, 35-7 Longview. Lee with 2 receivers near side, and here comes procedure. Tyler Fleet moved early. Right about the time you see a positive play, and again the hankies come, the procedure call, and Tyler does have that high ankle sprain. You wonder if he was leaning on it a little bit and just couldn't lean too much more, but you can't make a mistake after a play like that, and that's part of what's been, of course, the drive killers. I take it back to the game against Cincinnati Colerain. Colerain had thumped Lee pretty good, got on them very quickly. It was 14-0. Lee battled back, remember, Randy, and it was 24-12 at halftime, and they got a fumble to start the third quarter, got down to the 14, and an illegal false start, a sack, and a pick. Yep. And that just has kind of been a trend since that quarter.
Really, yep.
Jackson straight up the gut. Williams breaks a tackle, bounces it outside, inside the 45 to close to the 44. Got about 4 that time, but there's always a white jersey. Pippin's there. Marcus Davis was there. 34, T.J. Norris, the senior, was there. And it's 2nd down and 11 with 2:06 to go third quarter.
And ever since that point, Lee hasn't scored in the second half of any of the last 3 games.
That's an amazing stat for this coaching staff. For this staff that is so good at making adjustments at halftime, That's an
But
amazing
a lot
stat.
of it has been penalties. They had double-digit penalties last week. I've got them for 8 for 61 right now in this game, and they're headed for double digits again, and that's something that Mike Owens' coach teams normally don't do.
Mitchell is the deep back on 2nd down and 11. Williams in motion. They run the wing back reversed, and Williams again gets nothing. By the time he took the snap, Ben Huddleston was there in the backfield as he had beaten the offensive lineman, and he lost a couple of yards. That play's not working tonight.
No, it's not at all. Longview is reading it correctly, shooting the gaps. That's basically what they're doing. They're getting right by the Lee blockers, and Lee's just too slow to react against the Longview front four.
So 3rd and 12 now. Lee will have the ball at the 46-yard line of Longview. Amy and Mason have brought the play into Marcus Jackson. Jackson, a 5'11", 165-pound junior. 8 of 15 tonight. Now 9 of 16 for 95 yards. His last throw was his best throw besides the touchdown to Williams. Play action. Jackson steps up, sideline caught. Amy breaks a tackle 40 and knocked out of bounds at the 40 to the 37-yard line. Short of the first down, sets up 4th and about 5 here. But we're starting to see as well the last couple of 3 weeks since the Euless Trinity game, the development of a junior combination, Jackson to Amy, or when Preston's in there, Preston Hill to Amy, 8 yards there, and Jacob Amy, you'd love to see him get about 6 or 7 catches a game.
Oh, easily, and he's such a big target. He's got pretty good hands. He had trouble the first game or two catching the ball, but has really come along ever since the Trinity game 3 weeks ago.
4th and 4, Lee at the 37-yard line. Lee's got the wrong formation. Amy's in a slot. Jackson now. And they got to take a timeout. Did the clock ever start? Here comes a flag. Whoa, that wasn't very pretty. Jacob Amy was on the wrong side of the formation. I'm not sure, but this is going to cost Lee 5 yards. I never saw the play clock start, or perhaps by the time I looked at it, it was already at 25, which means it ran out. And I don't understand why that there wasn't a timeout taken. I see what was going on. I see exactly what was going on. 4 seconds to go in the quarter. And I don't think the play clock ever started, Randy.
No, it never
and the
did.
Lee coaching staff was just hoping that they would get to the quarter break. And then the penalty flag because of illegal procedure, and now they'll punt the football. And there's one of those bugaboos. Again, you get down in the, not the red zone, but somebody else's territory, and it just seems like the flags start coming.
Well, Lee has controlled the ball this quarter. They've had it all but 1 minute and 10 seconds of the quarter, so you got to score points. So
Carlton will snap it back to Josh Burke, who's had punts of 46 and 48 yards. Nobody back deep for Longview. Burke with a little pooch kick that hits at the 25, 20 down to the 15. Leave it alone down inside the 10. And they do. Beard, Hanson was there as well for Robert E. Lee. Avery Bush was there. Tony's older or younger brother. 34-yard pooch kick that time for Josh Burke, and that also ends the third quarter. Our score, Longview 35 and Robert E. Lee 7, and we're back after this from Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler.
In the game of life, there are no timeouts, only time wasted. The path you choose now determines your future. But where can you go to find a sense of purpose? There is a place where team spirit steps off the field and into the classroom, where no victory goes unnoticed, and there's no such thing as wasted time. That place is Tyler Junior College, living life in color, never black and white. Come to Tyler Junior College. We're changing the game. We're changing lives.
Car shopping can be stressful. With all the clutter out there, it's hard to tell what to buy. But at Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center, we believe that the simplest way is the best way. So we offer a large selection of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to sell with no hassles. Each vehicle has been through a 20-point inspection for quality assurance. You can shop in comfort under the awnings and check out our newly expanded lot with more inventory than ever before. Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center on the corner of Glenwood and Vine in Tyler.
Longview will take over this drive at the 9-yard line, leading 35-7. Ivory and McGee. Here's Vondrell, right tackle. Gets outside the 10 for about 5. Good push off the right-hand side. The lead defense trying to bow up if they can. They gave up so many points so early, so many yards. And Jacoby McKenzie down at the bottom of that pile. And along with a few others. I like what I've seen tonight. A couple of guys stepping up. Michael Hunter, obviously we've seen the progress of Amy. We've also, of course, seen Jamal Mitchell now become kind of a factor as well on occasion. Justin Hansen's checked in, the senior, number 22, 5'8", 205-pound spark plug. Second down and 6. They go McGee off left tackle up the middle. He got hit by McKenzie. And a bunch of others in there as well, including Carlo Lawler. Hansen was there. And as we say a lot, Takarian Cuba was there.
Oh, yeah, and on the prior play, actually Colby Ray was in on the stop. He was at the bottom of the pile on the first down play, and you're getting a little bit better attention to detail, if you will, from the Lee defense. Now they're playing a little bit harder. Of course, they're staring at that 4-touchdown deficit at the
When
moment.
Longview started this drive at the 9-yard line, I had flashbacks of last year to start that midway through the third quarter when Vondrell went 90 on an amazing highlight reel. 3rd and 2. McGee off right tackle, hit at the line of scrimmage by Jacoby McKenzie and short of the first down at the 17-yard line. And Jacoby's got the motor going, trying to show the younger kids, hey, listen, we've been beat up. We're being thumped a little bit here, but we got to keep playing.
Yeah, and they're being challenged, and right now at least they come out. And, you know, Longview almost appears like they're going through the motions, but give credit to Lee's defense. Longview's had 2 consecutive 3-and-outs to start the second half, and Lee's out 21 offensive plays to Longview's 8 thus far.
10 minutes to go, third quarter. This game heard on News Talk 600 KTBB. You can get the archive of the game on ktbb.com through tsrnsports.com, and also Fox Sports Net's national broadcast will be replayed later in the weekend. Snap to Carlin Freeman, punts it, high end over end punt that will be going sideways and going backwards, and Lee will get their best field position in a long time to start a drive at the 42-yard line of the Lobos, and that is a short punt by Carlin Freeman of 26 yards, but in the position he is in, he just wants to get that thing off, let the defense take over.
Yeah, and he's got a great defense to let him take over, and you know, they pretty much stymied Lee here in the second half, and Lee controlled the ball. As I mentioned earlier, they 10 minutes, 10:50 to 1:10 in the quarter. And
TV timeout, 9:41 to go, third quarter. It is Longview 35 and Robert E. Lee 7. We're back after this. Jamie, did you say something? Okay. 1 minute. Justin, thank God you're awake. This is here. Okay, guys, we got to try to figure something out. Obviously, Longview's going through the motions. We know that.
Yeah.
But they've got to figure out something positive.
They got to score in this half.
I mean, well,
yeah,
something. But there's a couple of guys have stepped up, you know, and the deal, though, is these sloppy, which is uncharacteristic of them. They've never been a sloppy team. I mean, even the first year, they were just not very good.
No, they're just sloppy right now. And,
it's the sideline reporter.
Is it him? Could it be?
Do you remember these penalties being?
Never decimating a team like this.
All it takes is
blame
one
on him.
There's 9 minutes and 41 seconds to go in a game that Longview jumped on Lee with 21 first quarter points, led 35-7 at halftime, and that's been the score. A lot of people leaving. And this game, when it was first thought of as a possible Thursday night national TV game, or just a Thursday night game anyway, you knew this would be a monster crowd. And Lee's home side, to be honest with you, the reserve section a little bit light tonight. That was disappointing to see. Longview brought a bunch of people, as Lee's team will drop tonight. Looks like the 2-4 and 0-2 in district play for the first time since 1996. Marcus Jackson, play action, steps up, now wants to run, throws, he's got Williams, and he lost it, and he got hammered at the 25. Boy, he got hit by Calvin Jackson, as Williams that time had that thing. Look at the arm of Marcus Jackson. I know it's an incomplete pass. I know he kind of put Jason out to dry that time, but look at the gun, and that's what we, we'll see more and more of in 2006.
Yeah, he's doing that on the run too. He's moving his feet and he rifles it. And
Dalwin told me that Marcus in the pocket is very good, but when he gets outside the pocket and runs, that his mechanics can at times get a little out of whack. But they didn't look like anything out of whack that time. 2nd and 10. Marcus Jackson with Amy in motion to the near side, right in the middle of the field. Little counter tray, and Jason Williams, nothing there. Guess who's at the bottom of the pile? 63, Ben Huddleston. TJ Norris was there as well. And LaTroy Ayers, if there had been play action, was in the backfield ready to gobble that up. It's 3rd and 9.
Well, this is obviously the 2 best tackles we've seen all year against for any Lee opponent. Not real big. Well, Ayers is 5'10", 250, but Huddleston's not big.
You're 5'10", 240. Try to move that, you know? It's not like they have a Saron Black right now, and he wouldn't be over there with him anyway. This guy can get around. He and Huddleston's just as active.
Oh, yeah.
3rd and about 9.5, maybe 10. Williams got nothing there. Jackson wants to throw. Pass caught. Fuller. Michael Fuller with a nice job. And Marcus Jackson got leveled by Huddleston after the throw. And he still took the hit, delivered the first down, runs up to the huddle and says, guys, let's go. First down at the 29.
Well, I'll tell you what, he did take a blow. Huddleston comes in and pops him hard. And it's a 14-yard completion on the play as Fuller slides down to make the catch on the 3rd and 10. And he just does a great job of keeping his composure, David, and waiting to that last split second before he fires a rocket to Fuller.
Fuller and Amy far side. Williams and Cruz Fry to the near side. That's Jonathan Williams in the shotgun. Mitchell the up back with Marcus Jackson. Snap from Bailey. Jackson has to roll to the near side. Here comes a flag. Now he has to run 30, 25, and goes out of bounds at the 23, and here comes a flag by Doyle Pogue, who's been as active as anybody, holding against Robert E. Lee. And that kind of occurred, and there's a player, that's Marcus Jackson, who's really slow getting up. We got Preston Hill, the senior quarterback, who's been playing with the league for 3 years, had a huge impact on the team in 2003, and he is out with an MCL, and they will, of course, continue to monitor that. There's a lot of swelling going on. I saw him early in the year, or early in the week, and his right ankle and stuff were kind of puffed up, and they got to let that swelling go down. Jamie?
Marcus holding his back as he runs back out onto the football field. David, when he was pushed out of bounds, he landed right on the edge of the concrete here on the track. So just twisted his body a little bit, and he hit right in the wrong spot, but he does go back out onto the field.
Well, he's a tough guy, though. He got right back up and kind of wobbled back to the huddle, and Brandon Rogers, the sophomore, had a little bout of heartburn for a second there. Let me tell you a story about the sophomore quarterback in a moment, who was brought up from the JV when Preston went down. Lee now again, they had a pretty good drive going, but the holding call. Mitchell in motion. Jackson, shotgun, takes the snap. Little wide receiver screen to Williams. Breaks one tackle, fumbles the ball. Longview picks it up. They lose it. It's loose still. And now it all depends, and Longview has got another fumble recovery. They are like fire ants on a hot summer day sometimes on defense.
Well, that's 5 turnovers now against Lee. 5 in the kind of game where you couldn't afford 1, and they've had 5, and Longview's there to get it, and it's just an effort fumble from Jonathan Williams trying to turn back in, and the ball is swiped out of his hands as he's trying to struggle for more yardage, and Longview gets on it, David.
Cortez Bell has now recovered a fumble, forced a fumble, and I think Jarvis Pippins got shook up on that play as he comes off to the sideline, and one of the Longview coaches gets a hold of him. That was a wide receiver screen. Williams trying to break it and get extra yardage. The second effort, somebody got him on the elbow. Ball came loose, and if it gets loose, guys in yellow, green and white, 5 turnovers. 5 of them, and
they're now plus 15.
It would have been tough to win tonight for Lee if they had not had any, but then there's 5. Freeman runs the fullback up the gut. No, that's not Freeman. That is Miles, who's the backup quarterback. DeMarcus Miles, who has gotten probably more play than any backup quarterback you could imagine except Marcus Jackson in high school football. And also Mark Johnson, a backup running back. Listen to these numbers. 42 carries, 292 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's a sophomore.
He is a sophomore, right? They get a nice burst up from him. He picks up 3 on that first down play.
Second down, Longview near midfield. Miles runs the straight quarterback option. He got 5 yards and close to a first down. He broke the tackle of Faber, got through the tackle of Cuba, and picked up what was another 5 yards. It's 3rd down and a yard.
Yeah, he just runs that option out to the right. His back is actually picked up nicely from Colby Ray on the far side, but he tucks it under and fights through 2 or 3 players to pick up a gain of 6.
Jeremy Moore, the senior, made the stop for Robert E. Lee. Michael Wall has checked out, 3rd and a yard, and Longview with their backups here with just under 7 minutes to go, leading 35-7. Miles quarterback keeper. Faber stopped him, but he got 4 yards on a quarterback keeper. Down to the lead 41-yard line, that time led by Joe Reyes, the center, the junior, at 5'10", 205.
Longview's first down of the second half comes on a quarterback sneak, and all they want to do now is just burn the clock on up. And, they could score again. They've just got to drive it on down, and Lee's trying to bow up to keep the score at bay.
1st and 10. Lee has also brought in several backups in this game, including Eldridge Spencer. Here comes a flag. A sideline warning against Robert E. Lee. Russell Bishop wanted to get his name in the radio broadcast. He gets a glare from Mike Owens. But that is one, I know that there's one rule that they have really specifically talked about this year. Is to try to keep anybody they can off the field. 1st and 10, Miles with a deep handoff to Johnson. Initially hit that time by a tackle and then lost a yard or so as Lee comes in. Faber was there, Cuba was there. Fuller again, Hunter, was there, but the defensive tackle, it might have been McSwain or 57 that time. Ryan McSwain made the first hit. And Jasmine Moon, what a name that is. Yeah. Jasmine Moon, that sounds like one of the new candles at Tyler Candle Company.
He's the younger brother of Channing Moon.
Channing Moon.
Who played the last couple of years, who graduated.
Moon lost about 2. And it's a 2nd and 11, lost a yard. Here's the fullback on the little pop play. 1st down, 40, 35, close to a 1st down. Down inside the Lee 35, and that was Mark Johnson on the stop. Johnson's a 5'8" sophomore, and Beard and Cuba on the stop for the lead team. Here's Royce Lee coming in, and Brotherton checks out. 3rd down and a yard as Johnson got 10.
That's a pair of sophomores they have backing up. Obviously, their star running back McGee, and now one of them's limping off the field, David Robinson.
Boy, that's got to concern the Lobo coaches because he gives them that extra threat that they need with the passing game. Miles, quarterback keeper, and George Faber, just the perfect form tackle, but he got the 1st down. Faber playing every down here tonight. Probably starting to get a little bit fed up with people running on the way they are, but that's kind of been the story. And here's a timeout. Officials will measure with 4 minutes and 55 seconds remaining here in the 4th quarter. Just saw Peyton Price, the former Lee fullback, who was a huge factor in that team last year that won it all. Josh Hill, now at Tyler Junior College. Peyton, by the way, walked on. He had scholarship offers at some other schools, Divisions 2 and some 3s and grants, and he ended up saying, I want to play Division I football. He went to Fort Worth, 1st down Longview, walked on, is on the 105-man regular roster, was in Oklahoma when TCU stunned the Sooners in Jersey. He was suited up for that game. He was a walk-on, but remember what Peyton Price meant for that team a year ago. Peyton Price, Tony Bush, obviously Tyrone Ross and Saron Black and Sam Banks and Josh Hill and so many others that were a huge factor. Stripling, Skates, Sherfield. Here's handoff to the deep back, not much there. Got maybe a half a yard. Start trying to name some of those guys, Randy, then all of a sudden you realize why this year is going to be or has been a struggle so far.
And that's really it. It's all about experience versus inexperience. And now, you're at the midway part of the season. You would think these younger players have to start growing up at some point. And it's got to start next week when they visit Mesquite to play North Mesquite. So
Holland. I talked to Ricky Sherfield when I was out at Lubbock. He and Matt Holland are out there. Talked to him for a second or two, and he said, Mr. Smoke, some of us need to go back and do a little pep talk. I said, whenever you're ready. 2nd and 9, Miles runs the offense and takes it on the quarterback keeper and runs right into the hands of Matt Uzel. Got a couple of yards, maybe not even that much. Under 4 minutes to go in this game. Longview was up 21-0 at the end of 1. It was 28-0, 35-7 at halftime, and that's the way it has stood. And you got to give the lead defense credit for making some plays. Their first team defense still trying to keep them out of the end zone. but also John King. Very, very good relationship with Mike Owens and company. John King, the head coach, best friends with defensive coordinator Randy Huffstickler, and he's called the dogs off here in the third quarter and fourth quarter, but Lee's defense has gotten into a rhythm. But that's one of the other stories of this team, Randy, is they fall behind a little bit, then they kind of get something going, and then not able to score again in the second half.
This will make 4 consecutive games unless they get the ball back and something happens. They're not going to.
Longview timeout. 3:13 to go. 35-7. Lobos over Robert E. Lee. Back after this on News Talk 600 KTBB.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
The DQ Caramel Latte Resistance Test.
Begin.
Oh! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Mou Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell, going the extra mile against hunger.
Well, we've seen 2 of the teams in District 12 5-8 tonight. Longview, as we have mentioned a couple of different times, as good as advertised on both sides of the football. 35-7 Lobos. Tomorrow night I will be at Hanby Stadium in Mesquite to watch John Tyler, which broke that long drought in their district. Got the win against North Mesquite 16-14. They will play the Skeeters of Mesquite High School. And quite frankly, Randy, Longview is without question the cream of the crop, the class of the district. And after that, it is a crapshoot.
Yep.
And it's going to be a week in and week out struggle. There might come down to these goofy tiebreakers and things like that on who beat what on what day and whether or not you a lot of things. And so that, because of that, normally you 0-2 in district, you can forget it. And that's what gives Lee a chance, because everybody seems to be stacked up evenly or somewhat evenly after that. It's 3rd and 10, but eventually you got to start making some plays. And Miles on the quarterback draw down to the 25, and Takarian Cuba was there to wrap him up along with Michael Hunter again. Michael Hunter is earning some playing time as he got about 6 yards.
Yeah, he is. He grabbed a hold of Miles as Miles tried to cut back inside and help wrestle him down, and Lee kept that option play from breaking out more than the 7 yards that it picked up.
They just showed a shot of Vondrell McGee on the sideline over on the bench. Almost looked like he was falling asleep. Miles running the offense. DeMarcus Miles, here's a junior. He's the heir apparent to Carlin Freeman, who's going to go 20-3 as a starter. His 3 losses are to Lufkin twice and to North Garland. Is that right, Randy? In the playoff, South Garland. In a playoff game a couple of years ago.
That's right.
First ever victory came against, in fact, Robert Lee. Timeout Longview. 2:17 to go. 35-7 Lobos. We're back in a minute.
As an ETMC first physician, I put my patients first.
That's why I offer same-day appointments.
And I'm close to where you live.
I specialize in pediatrics.
I have advanced diagnostic equipment on site.
I offer extended hours.
The well-being of my patients really matters to me.
ETMC First Physicians are located throughout East Texas, so you can always find a first physician close by. A physician whose specialty is you.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
4th and about 4 for the Lobos at Robert E. Lee's 26-yard line with 2:17 to go in the game, 35-7. Longview, that was the halftime score. Miles, a little flare pass outside to Jasmine Moon, and he's going to be tripped up short of the first down at the 23-yard line. Nice job down underneath. Favored Cuba to carry, and Cuba's been in a ton of tackles, and he gets up kind of grabbing the back. But he has, remember, missed those first 2 games. His first game was in Columbus, Ohio. And he's got part of my vote as the player of the game, Dusty Rhodes Marine. It's hard to say that when you're down 35-7. Randy's got a semi-vote for Josh Burke, the punter, who's had a very nice debut here tonight. 43-yard punting average. And Jamie will have Mike Owens in a moment. Jamie, that's a pretty good pick, too. We'll talk about that in a second. And I think this might be Rogers. Is that right? It is. Brandon Rogers, his first ever snap to Josh Burke on the stretch out to the right-hand side. Let me tell you about Brandon Rogers. This is a famous family in Lee football lore. Anyone remember overtime, Lufkin, Texas? Mike Rogers,
that's his
from
little
Matt
brother.
Flynn on 4th down for a touchdown. That's his little brother.
In overtime, yeah.
I've been told that Brandon Rogers has got some quick feet like his brother Mike did. 6 foot, 170-pound sophomore Josh Burke, who's been very versatile tonight as the punter, kick returner, and now the tailback. And Jamal Mitchell's in as well. Mitchell, little fullback dive at the 30, close to a first down. Got it at the 34-yard line. He got 7. Burke got 3, and it's a first down lead with 1:27 to go.
All the backups are in for Lee, and Owens is trying to get these young men some playing time on the field. And you can look at the second half one of several different ways. What Lee has done is been able to come out and at least neutralize and keep Longview from scoring. It looked like Longview was just going through the motions, though.
Chris Lacey and Chris Carter and Jamal Peterson have all checked in for the Lobos in the secondary. You're right. But you try to build on whatever you can when there's been a lot of negative things. Here's Burke outside and not much there. Lobos eat him up on the outside. A lot of pushing and shoving going on after the play. And Jake Kirkpatrick gets tied up with big number 96 and number 90, Xavier Porter. Clock now will go under a minute. We've probably got a couple of plays left in this one. And so Randy, next week at North Mesquite. Then it's John Tyler. And then it's Mesquite, and then it's Mesquite Horn. And what Mike Owens and his staff hope is those games at the end of October have meaning, and it won't unless they bounce back and beat North Mesquite. They've got to almost win that game next Friday up at Mesquite. Second down as here's a procedure call, left side of the line moved early. Lee with going into this game as a big number 70, Lynn Gibson moved a little bit early. Kendrick Spencer, a sophomore, number 63, getting his first ever opportunity, along with a couple other offensive linemen. He was brought up from the JV. That's when you got the quarterback brought up from the JV. You've got
an offensive lineman with 2 injuries last week.
Spencer brought up from the JV. And it's 2nd and 15 with another penalty against Robert E. Lee. 4-man front for the Lobos. 30 seconds to go. This could be the last play. Burke outside, bounces it out. 35. He's got about 7, 8, 9, 10 yards out close to the 40, and that should wrap it up as the Longview Lobos, after taking a dominating 35-7 lead, will go on to win by that same score as they count it down under 5, down to 2. And Longview is 7-0 with a bullet. Longview 35 and Robert E. Lee 7 in what is one of the more lopsided wins for the Lobos in quite some time. They won 31-14 after Lee had beaten them, Randy.
2002.
A couple of 3 years ago, but this one was John King's team taking care of business early and eliminating any opportunity that Lee had of thinking that they could pull off the upset tonight. And it has been rare when Lee has lost a game when we talked about the fact that it would have been an upset. Pat Collins and Mike Owens, and here's Jamie Lynn.
Hang on one.
All right, well, no, Pat Collins and Mike Owens are having a little conversation. Those things are always fun, as they have been really good friends for quite some time.
All right, Dave.
Jamie?
All right, Coach Owens, obviously a very good football team on the other side of the field. Are you impressed with Longview's ball club?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. No doubt about it. They're right up there with Euless Trinity. They're both real good. No doubt about that.
They jumped out to a quick start on you guys tonight right off the bat. Was that one of the big differences in the game?
Well, they came out ready to play, and then they've got some great players, and they shoved it down our throat. And so, yeah, they're a great football team. I don't know that we could have, if we played them 10 times, I don't know if we could beat them.
You guys are 0-2 now in district play. Do you feel at this point that you'll need to win out to get into the playoffs?
Oh, I don't have any doubt about that. I mean, in order for us to get in, we got to win the next 4. There's no doubt about that. So I was impressed with our defense the second half. They played real well. Offensively, we got, some problems playing with a young quarterback, and so we've just got to get him ready to play.
Under difficult circumstances, a tough start tonight for Marcus Jackson. Are you happy with the way he played?
Yeah, I mean, every week is going to be a learning deal for him, and we just hope that we can, get him ready to play so we can hopefully win, the next 4. But we just got to worry about the next one, which is North Mesquite right now.
On the road at North Mesquite, what do you say to you guys to try to bounce back?
Well, we're going to continue to play hard and practice hard. These guys are not going to quit. They don't have any give up in them. So, they're a good group of kids, and I think they'll continue to work, and then hopefully we'll be better next week.
Appreciate your time, Coach.
Thank you, Jamie. The final score, the Longview Lobos. If there's a team better than they are, I got to see who it is because they are very good. 35-7. They had the big lead at halftime, then they put on the brakes, and they win by 28. Lee will now bounce back, they hope, and try to stop a 4-game losing streak.
Hi, I'm Whitney at Mike Powell Auto Group, where if you give us a chance, we will save you money. There's still time to save with Employee Pricing Plus on new Jeeps. You pay what we pay and not a penny more. If a new Mazda is what you're looking for, save on Ultimate Zoom Zoom with the Mazda S plan exclusively here at Mike Powell. Now is the best time ever to save on new Mazdas and Jeeps. Help us fight hunger in East Texas. Come take a test drive and we'll provide enough food for a hungry child for a week. Mike Powell, going the extra mile against hunger.
If you want big, Don's TV and Home Electronics is East Texas' largest dealer for big screens, big brands, big service, and great big deals. From big plasmas to HD-ready home theater projection systems to big home theater sound. And our sales and service associates are eager to help you with big smiles. Don's TV and Home Electronics. Now that's big.
The DQ Caramel Latte Resistance Test.
Begin.
Oh! Okay.
The irresistible new DQ Caramel Latte. Gooey caramel, rich coffee, and creamy DQ soft serve. DQ, something different.
Thanks for watching High School Football. Presented by TISD and Cox Communications of Tyler. Brought to you by Dairy Queen. Also brought to you by these sponsors: